show is about to begin.
Presented by FYF Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Kupp with us, aka Kupp FYF. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
It's in the game.
I'm your host, Simon, here as always with my peanut butter sandwich eating, always dancing co-host, John Luke Garofalo. What's up, JL?
What up? Boop, 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 boop.
That dance your dance at the beginning reminded me of Little Rascals. The I got two pickles, I got two pickles, I got two pickles. Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, 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 hey.
You're giving off those vibes this AM, Joe. A little rascally.
I'm giving off that double pickle vibe. What can I say?
We got Tommy in the chat. Yo, yo, yo. Time for the show. What's up, Tommy? Glad to have you in here.
Yo, oi, hey, oi.
Oi. You say morning, guys. Good morning. Glad to have you in here.
Partner.
Morning, partner. Joe, what made you mix it up from everything bagel to a peanut butter and jelly this AM?
I ran out of everything bagels. So PB&J it is.
Did you hear my voice crack whenever I said
Yeah. You sound like the teacher from Jimmy Neutron.
Carl, turn in your homework.
Jimmy Neutron.
That show was a banger, but why did everyone look so weird?
It was so good.
And why
everyone looked like a bumpy version of 3D cartoon rendering.
I feel like we've brought this up before, but it is ridiculous that every other character was human. And the teacher was human, but she was a bird. She was a bird.
This woman was a bird.
Everyone else was just a person. Maybe shaped a little weird. This one's a little round. This one's a little skinny, but she was she was a whole ass bird. She had a beak.
She was a whole ass bird.
Beak. She squawked. She ate bird seed at her desk.
She knew it. She knew it for sure.
And she just was pretending like no one else could even notice. She was just trying to blend in. Just blend in.
This is normal. I'm just a teacher. Definitely not a bird.
We got Craig in the chat coming in with the hogs and logs this morning. It's nothing but hogs and logs over here, JL, right?
Hogs and logs.
Are you a hog or a log this AM?
Oh, I'm a total log. Sorry, guys. Absolute log.
Guys, JL brought his peanut butter and jelly sandwich. A morning log.
I thought you were going to say something else there.
I didn't bring any breakfast. I brought some water and a Butterfinger. I guess that is breakfast for me this morning.
Is that the Butterfinger?
It's the Butterfinger. I've had this for weeks now. I can't bring myself to eat it. It's too special. It's too special to eat.
It's going to go so bad.
No, Butterfingers never go bad.
It's going to go so bad.
Craig said, rumor is he's sporting a hog of a log. Can you confirm or deny that rumor, JL?
I can absolutely deny that.
It's been going around.
I don't know who we're talking about, but they definitely do not have a hog of a log.
And Tommy said, the one that escaped from under your bread. Yes, it is the one that escaped
under your bread.
From under my bread.
I keep longings under my bread.
Under my bread. We did not bring breakfast for everybody. We just brought breakfast for ourselves. But we did bring news stories this morning. And the first one we got to talk about.
You're starting us off today?
Yeah, Cooper Kupp needs ankle surgery, and he will be going to the IR.
Start us off with something better.
No, we got to start here, JL. We're starting with Cooper Kupp. He's headed to the IR. Pretty stinky.
Yeah, a lot of people going to the IR this week. Is very unfortunate. But Cooper Kupp, big bummer. A lot of people drafted him very highly in that first round. This is a big hit to a lot of fantasy teams. Although, Simon, correct me if I'm wrong, but it just feels like Cooper Kupp, even though he has been amazing, and he's top 3 wide receiver, it doesn't feel the same. It feels like we're spoiled. It feels like because he's not doing exactly what he did last year, it's like it's been quiet.
Yeah. Even though he's number 4, but Tyreek Hill also has an extra game over him. So really, he's like the 3rd highest scoring wide receiver on a points per game basis over Tyreek Hill. But last year he was broken for fantasy. Know what I mean? Like this year he is really good for fantasy. Last year the dude broke the game. Like was just unbelievable. Was leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else. So it does feel a little bit disappointing. That being said, he was a positive for your fantasy team every single week. You're going to miss having him on your team. Does this elevate any of the other receiving options on that team for you?
Yeah, it absolutely does. Cooper Kupp is demanding a massive target share, which I will pull up if you give me a moment here. But this means Matthew Stafford, when he returns, is going to have to rely on these other options here. Ben Skowronek, Allen Robinson, Van Jefferson. Oh, God, I was really worried I was going to forget someone there. Those are the main 3 that probably matter, are the most impacted. Maybe Higbee. Does this elevate Higbee for you, Simon?
Yeah, knocks Higbee up a peg. I think he's the one where it makes the most noticeable difference for me in like starter sit. Like Higbee goes from, I'm not starting him anymore, to like one of those tight ends that's pulling away from the glob a little bit.
That makes sense. I brought up the numbers here. Cooper Kupp, 31% target share in this offense. That's a pretty decent amount, 31%.
I think here's what's going to happen. The Rams are just going to suck even worse. Like there's a reason that they funneled it to Cooper Kupp. When they weren't, nothing was happening. Like this offense couldn't do anything besides funnel it to Cooper Kupp. They tried getting targets to Allen Robinson. Wasn't working. I don't know if him and Matthew Stafford aren't on the same page. I don't know if Allen Robinson is just not the same player anymore. I think this is going to be a bad team down the stretch without Cooper Kupp out there. I just have like no faith in this offense, and I'm not sure about these other receiving options if I'm even like excited to add them. Like, yes, Allen Robinson and Van Jefferson should be rostered, but like, what's your expectation for them? Wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3?
Right. I think wide receiver 3 or worse. Allen Robinson, I think the wide receiver 3. I can't in good conscience put Allen Robinson in a wide receiver 2 projection rest of the season.
Can't do it. I can't freaking do it.
It definitely elevates them. I don't think it elevates them far enough.
I'm with you. Like I saw questions yesterday, Allen Robinson or Christian Watson. Who would you rather add off the waiver wire? And it's Christian Watson for me.
Easy.
Not even particularly close. Like I know Cooper Kupp has been in this offense, but like looking at Allen Robinson's targets just the last couple weeks, 6, 5, 7, 6, 5, 6. Like he's getting targets already. And you know what he's turned it into? Wide receiver 50, wide receiver 42, wide receiver 42. In week 6, wide receiver 13. Nice job. Wide receiver 82, wide receiver 85, wide receiver 78. He's been completely unstartable every single week except for one. I don't think Cooper Kupp down makes Allen Robinson suddenly an every week start.
I'm with you, Simon. I'm with you. Cooper Kupp to the IR is a bummer. He's out at least 4 weeks, but he needs ankle surgery. Is he supposed to be out all season?
They didn't say that he was for sure out all season, if I remember correctly, but I'll look into that.
It's probably not a good reason for him to come back, right? Like the Rams are playing so horribly, the season's lost.
Yeah, the season's
3
lost.
3 and 6.
They're saying he has a recovery time of 5 to 6 weeks, so I guess he could technically come back, but I'm with you, JL. It seems unlikely. Why would they put him back out there on the field whenever this team isn't a playoff team this year? So IR for 4 weeks. That's the minimum, like Tommy said down there, but then they're saying a recovery time of 5 to 6 weeks is what this surgery generally takes.
Yeah, it's a bummer. Are you dropping Cooper Kupp if you have him in redraft, Simon? Is he if you don't have an IR spot, assuming that he can't just place him in that nice little IR spot, you dropping him? I'm
really trying not to. Like even if there's a 2% chance that he plays just in championship week, you're holding on to him. Like you're holding on to Cooper Kupp, even if there's just a small chance he can play.
Yeah, I'm with you. Man, sorry, this thing on my computer is super annoying right now.
All of a sudden, I just saw you with freaking stank face, and I was like, "Did I piss you off?"
I kept trying to change my lighting. It just kept being annoying about it. So anyway, stop alerting me. Leave me alone. In other news, Simon, I mentioned it earlier, but a lot of people going to IR, including young running back Khalil Herbert, Chicago Bears running back, sent to the IR for a hip injury. This is a bummer. This is a big bummer. Khalil Herbert was playing pretty well. He looked good.
I mean, but it makes the Bears plan pretty solid, or like pretty clear what their plan's going to be.
Pretty big boost to Montgomery, right?
Khalil Herbert is their future at running back because David Montgomery, this is the last year of his deal. He's an unrestricted free agent. They're going to ride David Montgomery into the ground the rest of the season, lean on him heavily. And then it's Khalil Herbert's backfield next year, it seems like. So it makes it clear it sucks for Khalil Herbert. He's a great dynasty player. If you are looking for dynasty players to trade for, maybe check with the Khalil Herbert manager who now has a running back on IR. See if you can get a trade done because dude's going to be magical next year whenever he comes back from this injury. But David Montgomery, hogs up for Monty rest of the season.
Hogs up for Monty. If it's not similar situation to Cooper Kupp, right, Simon, where you're not holding him.
No. He's not of the caliber of player that, like, when he's put on IR at this point in the season, I need to hold him. He wasn't even an every week start. Know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Absolutely. We got JHI in the chat.
JHI.
Good morning, fellas. Week 11 starts. RB2, Isaiah Pacheco or Gus. So, JL, Isaiah Pacheco or Gus Edwards. Which one of these players are you plugging into your lineup in week 11?
Week 11, we have arrived.
11.
11, telemundo. I'm going to go Isaiah Pacheco.
Aleph. That's the only other way I know how to say it in another language. It's Dutch.
Was that Dutch? I assumed. I wasn't going to go on a limb and be like, wow, Simon, did you suddenly know Polish?
It's Catalan, actually.
Is Polish a language?
Polish is a language.
Yeah, I knew that. I didn't need to ask that.
Or it's just a type of sausage. Either way, it's very important.
Polish sausage. There's a pretty big Polish community here in Baltimore City.
Really?
I think. I don't actually know. I'm just going solely based off things that I've seen in my time here. And there's like a Polish church near me.
There's more than I have to go off of. I found a Polish pierogi restaurant in Mexico last time I was there, and it was delicious. I'd eaten a lot of Mexican food.
I love Mexican food. It's the best. So JHI asking, I got very distracted here. It said
Isaiah Pacheco or Gus Edwards was what they asked. Then there's another flex question in there, but I just started with Pacheco versus Gus.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going Isaiah Pacheco over Gus Edwards this week. Isaiah Pacheco, he has got the Chargers, which is a solid matchup. They are giving up the second most points to the running back position. Gus Edwards going against Carolina, also a pretty solid matchup. Isaiah Pacheco, I just feel like the competition for him is a little less this week. It's a little clearer that he's going to get the workload here versus Gus Edwards coming off an injury.
Yeah, I'm going Isaiah Pacheco as well. He's not coming back from an injury. He looks like he took this starting job. It's still unclear whether Drake, Gus, or a combination of the two will be that lead back. But I'd imagine Gus gets the job, but I want to see it. And you don't have to wait to see it with Pacheco. We saw it last week. And it's a good matchup for him, like you said, JL. So that just makes it a little bit easier. What about in the flex, Moore, Tony, or Myers? I'm assuming Rondale Moore based on the players there. If it's not Rondale Moore, JHI, let us know. There's quite a few Moores in the NFL.
DJ Moore, does that change your answer?
It's probably the Moore, regardless of which Moore it is. Whether it's Rondale or DJ, it's probably more over Tony and Myers for me.
I'd be intrigued by a Kadarius Toney going against the Chargers this week, but I would agree with you, Simon. I think it is Moore for me as well, regardless. DJ Moore, who are they playing? They're playing Chicago because Justin Fields is Atlanta. Yeah, I think Rondale Moore, Kadarius Toney, DJ Moore. Obviously, DJ Moore is not actually in this question, but Rondale Moore, Kadarius Toney.
No, the Carolina's playing Baltimore.
Carolina's playing Baltimore. What am I thinking of?
I thought
Chicago had Atlanta this week.
Yeah, but DJ Moore's on Carolina.
Oh, wow. I'm tripping.
You were like, Carolina plays Baltimore, but I thought Chicago played Atlanta.
It's early, bro. It's so early. All I remember was thinking, wow, Justin Fields, Atlanta, good matchup. JL, good.
DJ Moore, also Carolina.
JJ said, Juju is out. Does that change your decision on Tony versus Rondale Moore?
Nope. Juju was injured and Hardman was hurt this past week, and Tony was still only on the field a little over 40% of the snaps. He's going to get his usage, but he's not like that was best case scenario for him this past week, and he still wasn't on the field enough to be super relevant. Like, I think he's a home run play. You can play Tony and hope for that touchdown. Dude is electric with the ball in his hands, and it could happen, and this is such a good offense for him to be in. But Rondale Moore is much safer. His target volume is safer. He's likely to get minimum 7 targets. And then in PPR, you're pretty happy with him.
Yeah, I'm with Simon.
But you got that home run upside with Kadarius Toney. I don't blame you.
I know. In the total of this game is set at 50.
Every time I see Tony on my bench,
I don't want a piece of it.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, I do the same thing. I'm like, Tony's on my bench. I'm like, I want to play him. But then like, no, make the smart play. Play Curtis Samuel. Just plug Curtis Samuel in. Plug your nose.
Samuel, Jay.
You don't even have to plug your nose with Curtis Samuel, because Curtis Samuel's been like, what is he ranked at this point? The top 18 wide receiver through 10 weeks. Like, dude's been great for fantasy football.
Yeah.
And JHI confirming it is Rondale. Will said I dropped Palmer for Christian Watson. Good move. I have Keenan, Gabe, and Waddle. You good with that, JL?
Yeah, I'm totally good with that. Christian Watson looks awesome. He looks amazing. Palmer is what we call an ephemeral asset, right? His time of value is slowly winding down here until Keenan Allen and Mike Williams come back.
Yeah, and they're coming back soon. They were both spotted on the field at practice, and Mike Williams is talking about how much better he is than where he's supposed to be. There he is. Mike, Mike is not hard to spot.
Not hard to spot at all. Dude,
That's
you
a
can see
big
him
man.
a mile away. Dude is so freaking tall.
It's like it always used to crack me up when he would be out at the bars jail in Clemson, and it's just a sea. It's just a sea of like 5'3" to 5'10" children. Like that's what it is. Like 18 to 23-year-old children, and then all of a sudden,
6-footers in there.
Occasionally, but they looked 5'10" when Mike Williams was at the bar. And then Mike Williams is just standing there, towering over everyone with his neck brace on. Like, you walk in,
the neck brace made it so much more exaggerated because he had to keep his neck straight and up. And so he just walking around, he looked like, wow.
That's a tall man.
That dude is tall.
I used to love running into him out there. JHI saying, thanks, fellas. No problem, my man. And well, to answer your question, I think it's fine to drop Palmer. He wasn't a must drop. He probably still has value even when these guys come back. But looking at your other wide receivers, makes sense why you gave him the boot. You got plenty of good wide receivers, and I like having that lottery ticket in Christian Watson a little bit better.
Yeah, I'm with you, Simon. I'm with you. Also, from related news, Eno Benjamin who was released this weekend. There's some news that came out from Kyle Odegaard on Eno Benjamin's release yesterday. He said the decision was made because of Benjamin's vocal displeasure with his diminishing role in this offense, which is very interesting. Eno Benjamin dealt with he also was claimed by the Texans yesterday, which is big news. So the Texans claimed Eno Benjamin off the waivers from Arizona this week. So it's pretty interesting. Eno Benjamin, surprise cut from Arizona, claimed by the Texans, and it seems like a lot of that had to do with just him being discontent with how much he was being used in this offense. Simon, what are your thoughts on the whole Eno Benjamin release being picked up by Texans?
Did we get more clarity on why he was released by the Cardinals? Like, was there a statement by either the Cardinals or by Eno Benjamin? Because I missed that if there was.
Yeah, you were reloading here while we we got news from Kyle Odegaard on Eno Benjamin's release, which is the decision was made because of Benjamin's vocal displeasure with a diminishing role in the offense.
Well, I mean, Did he forget what being a backup meant?
I came here because I thought I was going to be the starter.
Like, did you have a problem with it at the beginning of the season? Like when you knew James Conner was the starter?
So
like,
far?
I'm just a little bit confused. You know what? Do what you got to do, man. Like if you feel like you can do more somewhere else, then go do it. But like, I feel like you're going to run into a similar situation in Houston behind Dameon Pierce, who is also a very good running back.
Right.
Like it's confusing to me. Like is Jacoby Brissett gonna like go out there and be like, I'm pretty upset with my usage in this offense after Deshaun Watson comes back? No, he's gonna say like, I did my job.
I'm glad I don't have to work anymore.
I'm the backup quarterback, and now the starter is back
again.
That being said, players got to look out for themselves. And if he thinks this was the best move for his career, then I support him. Even if I think maybe a little bit silly, but I don't know everything that's going on, right? And truly, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to side with the player in these decisions about their career because it's their career, and the organization would just throw him to the curb in a heartbeat, right? Yeah, like the second he stops being valuable,
right?
It's business.
It's all business. Yeah, you got to look at it like that. I'm with you, Simon. This isn't. I mean, for Eno Benjamin, does this change his fantasy value at all for you? Are you interested at all in Eno Benjamin as a backup here for Dameon Pierce?
Yeah, it changes his value a ton. He goes from absolutely not startable to like pretty much not startable. So he just elevates himself in the not startable tier. Maybe he's worth a speculative ad. They don't want to give Dameon Pierce 20 touches a game, but what's that leave for Eno? Like he comes in, gets 5-6 touches a game, maybe takes on some pass catching work. Like
pleasure about that.
We'll see. I'm not too excited about Eno.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's interesting. Texans way worse offense, but I mean Rex Burkhead hasn't been doing anything. Dameon Pierce, he's a rookie, so maybe he can handle that much workload all season long, but eventually he might get tired.
No. Have you seen that boy run? That man runs with power. He runs violently and aggressively. He's never been tired a day in his life.
But also he's never stopped running somehow.
Dude, like players hit him and he just like, as he's falling down, he's still running. Like he is just hitting the jets. Every time a player hits him, it's like in Mario Kart, whenever you sideswipe a character and you get an extra boost.
A little boost.
You know what I'm talking about?
Are you playing that new Mario Kart? Mario Kart 8 Deluxe?
Garbage. Well, okay, JL. I know you're a double dash purist, but like
I just don't like that they changed the mechanics. That's the thing that bothers me about it. I get it if you like it. If you're Gen Z, you probably that's all you know, but I just don't like the mechanics. I think you're all slow now. It's not the same. The drifting's all weird.
Drifting's beautiful. Just because you don't know how to drift in Mario Kart 8 doesn't mean the drifting's weird, JL.
All right, did they change the drifting mechanics from the old ones to the new ones? Yes,
no.
They did. Yes, they did.
It's the same drift.
This is a fact, Simon. Go check it.
You can turn it on or off. Maybe you're forgetting and you're leaving auto drift on because there's 3 settings that are really confusing. There's auto drift, there's personal steering, then there's auto accelerate that are all automatically turned on unless you turn them off.
I'm throwing it makes the playing experience. Which one's better, old Mario Karts or new Mario Karts? We're gonna see.
I'm not saying that the old Mario Kart's not better. I'm just saying you're being like a grump. Like back in my day, we had the real Mario Kart. It was so much like I've been playing Mario Kart since Nintendo 64. Not quite the first one on Super Nintendo, but from Nintendo 64, and they have all been fun. Every single one of them has been fun, including Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And I'll just keep playing the newest one. And I'm going to keep spending them $60 for the same game every time they release it.
Tim said Mario Kart just gets a facelift and new maps, JL. It's not Call of Duty. They switched it whenever it moved to Switch. It's a different game. It's a different game mechanic. Craig said, speaking of video games, Friday morning, just a Pokemon stream. Absolutely.
Oh, is it this Friday?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Sorry, guys. We're going to be talking Pokemon the entire show. Maybe not Friday, but Monday, after a weekend of playing, it's going to be the first hour will just be.
We're just going to be talking. Oh, Simon, did you catch that thing? Did you? I want to say that we won't and that we'll have a professional integrity and be able to stop ourselves.
Now, you should have seen us when we picked up Breath of the Wild. It was all we talked about for like 3 weeks.
I wouldn't lie to you.
we could not, we would be like, so what do we need to do today for work? And did you beat that divine beast?
Yeah, let's just go down this piece.
I had a question for you about that one shrine that you did.
We got Nick in here. Good morning, Nick. So when do you think Kupp and Keenan Allen will be back? Cooper Kupp just went on IR, so he won't be back for at least 4 weeks. Could be the whole season. If you have an IR spot, go ahead and throw him in there. If you can hold them for the playoffs. Maybe we see some Cooper Kupp after 4 or 5 weeks, but we're getting into it. So if you need to drop him, I'm fine with it.
They said 5 to 6 week recovery time. So 6 week recovery time, that puts us right near the end of the season. They'll probably just shut him down if it is that 6 weeks.
They're 3-6. Doesn't make a ton of sense for them to rush him out there for, a not playoff run.
Do you think this season is bad because it's karma after the Super Bowl parade whenever Matthew Stafford just let that photographer fall off the bus?
100%, yeah.
I think about that all the time. Like I think about that.
I only think about it when you bring it up, which is often.
It was just such a shocking video to watch her step off and Matthew Stafford just go, whoop, and turn around and walk away.
I know we say that, but I don't know. I watched that. And I'm like, I don't know that I would have done anything different.
It's just shocking to watch. It's shocking to watch.
Where she is off and you can't do it. If you weren't quick enough to catch her, what are you going to do?
You just say hey,
are you
okay?
Yeah, you should have went down and been like, are you all right? But
someone help her.
People around and you're up on the stage thing. I'm just going to be like, okay, well, I'm not a doctor. Really, what can I offer here apart from, hey, are you all right?
I think
and
that's
a goofy
what you
smile. But I'm saying if there's a bunch of other people offering that, are you that worried about it?
You're also Matthew Stafford, who
I know. I get the famous part of it.
Taking a picture of, know what I mean? You guys were interacting, and then she fell off. She was taking a photograph of you.
Was he talking to her?
I don't know. All I remember is the face, the whoop, and then turn around. It was an instant face. Is I'm out of here, is what the face said. Keenan Allen, I expect to be back potentially this week. This week or next week. We've been waiting for him to come back, but Keenan Allen is a matter of, is it this week? Is it next week? He's been close the past couple weeks.
Yeah. Let's keep hitting this list, Simon, because there's a couple other big injuries here. Dallas Goedert dealing with a shoulder injury. He is expected to miss extended time, whatever that means.
Cooper Kupp, Khalil Herbert, Dallas Goedert. Come on.
Chase Young is coming back, which is good. Washington Commanders defender. Shaq Leonard out for the season.
Boo.
Linebacker for the Colts. That is a big blow for them. But they got Jeff Saturday. So
bros. Yeah, what else do you need when you got Jeff Saturday?
You said pour one out for the IDP bros. The one IDP league I'm in, I have Shaq Leonard, and this so pour one out for me.
Okay. I should just dump my water all over
your glue keyboard.
I made such a mess yesterday, Jail. There is glitter and glue everywhere in my office now, and my J and K key are quite sticky.
It's your fault.
It's got glue and glitter all over everything.
That's hilarious.
And I wasn't even crafting. Didn't even do a single craft. Jail, not a player that was added to an injury report or is out for the season, but we did get an update that Najee Harris is dealing with knee discomfort. So I know he had that foot injury at the beginning of the season. Now he's got the knee discomfort. Are you worried about Najee Harris rest of season?
Yeah, I mean, this is this is a bit, I guess, confirmation of what we've seen with our eyes, which is that he's not looking as explosive as he did before. It's a bummer for Najee Harris. It's concerning. Probably a little boost for Jaylen Warren, but mostly this just confirms what we were already expecting, which is that he's not playing 100%. If anything, this should, I think, maybe this should affect more so how you're looking at Najee going into next year than it does affect how you're looking at him going into this year.
And how does it affect how you're looking at him?
That's a good question. I'm glad you asked. In that you should be more willing to draft him next year. Maybe be a little less worried that he has lost his talent, and that this is more of he's playing through injury. He's playing with a poor offensive line, just a poor offense general.
I was waiting for you to say, "Oh, I don't know. I just think you should punt doing that analysis until next year." Yeah. It doesn't affect it this year because I'm just not doing that. But next year I'll do that analysis. It's just a procrastination technique. It doesn't really this year, not so worried about it. Next year is when I'm going to be worried about it.
Next year's that's when I'm going to think about it.
That's when we're having these thoughts. No, I'm with you though, Jail. I'm also going to just wait and think about it next year. No, but I do think you can have a little bit more confidence drafting him next year. I know Jaylen Warren's back there. People are saying he's going to take over or he's going to take this job. It's still Najee Harris's backfield. And when he's fully healthy, he's going to be a stud.
Yeah.
Nick had a follow-up for us, JL. After we mentioned Cooper Kupp and Keenan Allen, want to know, would you then trade Cooper Kupp for Keenan Allen?
Would I trade Cooper Kupp for Keenan Allen? Absolutely. 100% I would do that. That's a free Keenan Allen.
Are you concerned that Keenan Allen hasn't been back yet? Like we've been waiting for Keenan Allen to come back on the field?
Sure, concerned. Yeah, for sure. But Cooper Kupp's probably not going to play again.
Yeah, but we know Cooper Kupp's right. Like I'm moderately concerned about Keenan Allen, who is back at practice. Cooper Kupp, yeah, I'm actually not concerned about it all because it's pretty clear what's happening there.
Right.
You concerned for Cooper? Like, yeah, for his well-being, not for his fantasy value. That's pretty clear.
It's pretty clear that he's worth nothing anymore.
Spooky season had a trade question for us. Want to know, would you trade Rondale Moore for Chris Godwin that's on a bye week? So trade away Rondale Moore, get Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin's on bye. So you got to eat the bye.
I'll eat the bye for Chris Godwin. That's a huge upgrade.
Yeah, I'll eat the bye for Chris Godwin as well. Though Rondale Moore's been pretty good, JL. He's been nothing to sneeze at.
Guess who's coming back, Simon?
Brittany?
Marquise MF and Brown.
Marquise Brown. You're right.
He's gonna poo-poo over a lot of those Rondale Moore targets. He still is like a target leader. I can pull it up here. He's still a target leader compared to the rest of the league, and he's been out for since week 6, and he's got 64 targets. 64 targets on the season.
Hot. No, Marquise Brown's going to be good whenever he comes back. I'm with you, JL. You make this trade if you can eat the bye.
That's more than Chase Claypool. That's more than Rondale Moore. That's more than Jerry Jeudy. That's more than Pat Freiermuth. It's more than Juju Smith-Schuster and Adam Thielen.
Wow.
It's more than Mark Andrews.
Keep telling me who it's more than.
That's more than Brandon Ayuk. It's more than TJ Hawkinson.
Okay, stop. That was enough.
Deebo Samuel.
Spooky season. Would you trade Rondale Moore for Marquise Brown then? So with Hollywood Brown coming back, you got to eat another week probably. Is he back this week?
I'd probably make that trade.
You'd make that trade?
It depends on my team.
Hollywood?
It depends on my team for sure. If I have the wide receiver depth that Rondale is going to be sitting the next couple of weeks, yeah, I'd make that trade. What about you,
I'd
Sam?
rather do it for Chris Godwin. Like, I'd rather do it for Chris Godwin. But I'd dabble in that other one. I'd do it for Marquise Brown.
Think about it.
Some interesting trade spooky season. And Rondale Moore's the right kind of player to be looking at trading, a player that's maybe overperformed because of their situation. And that situation is changing. It's changing. Tommy in here has a question. Said, are you bedazzling your jean jacket again? What do you mean again? This is a sacred jacket that will not be bedazzled. And I love bedazzles. This isn't an anti-bedazzle take. But this jean jacket stays pure in denim.
Pure and denim.
Glue. No, I bedazzled my laptop, Tommy, with the glue and glitter. It was my laptop. I would never do that to my jean jacket, just to my computer, of course. Of course. Jill, did you see the interaction between Arthur Blank and J.C. Horn after the Falcons-Panthers game?
No.
It was pretty cool. I watched that video last night. Arthur Blank went up to him and asked if he was related to Joe Horn, and that's J.C. Horn's father. And Arthur Blank was just like, that was a really great man, great coach, great teacher. Like, he handled the development of Roddy White so well. Like, tell your father I said hi. And it seemed like such a genuine interaction. Like, Arthur Blank has real respect for Joe Horn, JC's father. And I'm not sure JC was super aware of that relationship with the way he reacted. He seemed happy to be hearing those kinds of words from Arthur Blank.
That's amazing.
I love stuff like that.
I know. That's so cool. Like, just seeing, any sort of like wholesome thing like that. That's dope.
And Arthur Blank is, I told you I met him when I was 10, right?
You did?
The Falcons. Yeah, I met Arthur Blank when I was 10 years old. I was my mom's friend had an extra box ticket to the Hawks game, the Atlanta Hawks game. And so let me go into the box seats with them, with their family. And so I got to go to the Hawks game. And in the box right next to us was Arthur Blank watching the Atlanta Hawks game. And so my mom's friend was like, come here. Like, I'm going to introduce you to him. And I was like, do you know him? And he's like, no, but like, you're a kid, so he'll talk to you.
You're a kid.
And so brought me over, and he was so kind and shook my hand and asked about school and like asked questions and was like, appeared genuinely interested. Probably not. Actually, you know what? I say that, but guys like that have a habit of remembering like random encounters. You know what I mean? Like, it's a thing. Like, if they got to that level, that's like probably something they've practiced, is like, remember that name. Imagine when they put them through
I think a lot of it is not necessarily memory too. They have like little tricks, right, to make it seem like it's like a charisma thing. It's like like, oh yeah, I remember you type of thing.
I believe Tim has a story where, like, I don't know why this reminded me, like, Bill Clinton like walked his mom home in college during a class or something, and then years and years later,
I remember that story.
Tim, as a child, and Tim's mom went to a Bill Clinton like fundraiser event, and she walks up to him, and he immediately goes like, "Sally, great to see you." Like immediately recognized her. 15
in my head, that
later.
was your story, but I do think it was Tim's story that he told me. That you say it.
My mom never met Bill Clinton, not that I'm aware of.
It's been your mom the whole time.
With Tim though. My mom brought Tim to meet Bill Clinton. That's what was going on. We had a question in here from from Big Trev. He said
Big
DPJ, Tony, or Gallup PPR. Joe, you going DPJ, Tony, or Gallup in a PPR league?
I'm going Kadarius Toney. We talked about him a little bit earlier. I forget who we were going up against. It's Kadarius Toney and someone else. So we ended up leaning the other player. But in this matchup, or in this group here, Diamond Peoples-Jones, Kadarius Toney, Michael Gallup, I am going clearly the Kadarius Toney side. The high scoring game, Vegas expecting this to be high scoring. The total is set at 50. If Juju is out, Kadarius Toney is going to be a bigger part of this offense. Of course, it's going to run through Travis Kelce first. But Kadarius Toney, I think, he's really earning himself a role here in this offense. It's good to see.
Man, I hear you, JL. I hear you. I just feel a hell of a lot more comfortable with Donovan Peoples-Jones in my lineup.
Against Buffalo?
I know it's a tough matchup, but I think I'm still rolling out DPJ. His target volume has been pretty safe so far this season. He hasn't scored a touchdown yet, and he's been pretty good for fantasy. So I'm not too worried about the lack of touchdown upside this week for him. And I think he continues to get those 7-8 targets that he's been getting. I'm just nervous. You know what I mean? Tony's upside is definitely higher. Like, without a doubt, much higher upside on the Tony side. I just like the floor of DPJ. I feel like he's a relatively safe play at this point in the season, which is not how I thought he was going to develop this year. Like, I thought he was going to be that boom bust guy, but instead we have a pretty safe floor from DPJ.
Pretty safe floor. I'm with you, Simon. That makes sense. I'm still going to go Kadarius Toney, but I get you. I like the reasoning.
I don't blame you. I want to play Kadarius Toney. Like, that's what I want. Also, spooky season in here. So thanks, guys. Found your stream yesterday and been loving it. Appreciate you coming in. Spooky season. And it's always spooky season, right, JL?
Always spooky season, year round.
I love spooky decorations and spooky Halloween. And that's one of the cool things about where I live. Once someone puts up Halloween decorations, they're up until like Christmas. And then they just take the pumpkin down and put up a Santa Claus. And then that's up until like, I don't know, March. People like to celebrate for a long time in my neighborhood, just leaving their lights up all over the place.
Right.
And when I say people, I mean us too. Because when you put up like a mountain of spider webs on your fence, it's not as much fun to take them down. I'll just leave the spider webs up there.
Yeah. People think you live in a spider's den.
Nick wanted to know, Joe, he said, I'm weak at the wide receiver spot this week. Do you think Jarvis Landry, Matt Collins, or Treylon Burks has any fantasy value this week?
One more time. Burks,
Landry, and Hollins. So Jarvis Landry, Matt Collins, and Treylon Burks.
So let's pull up their matchups here. I forgot the second one you mentioned. Matt Collins, Treylon Burks, the two I got. Treylon Burks got Green Bay. Matt Collins has Denver.
Jarvis Landry.
Jarvis Landry. Thank you. Jarvis Landry. All right. Too early still, Simon. And New Orleans is playing against the Los Angeles Rams. And the question was, do I think any of them have fantasy value? Yeah, I think all three of these guys are are bye-week flex players. You can throw them into a flex spot. I'm not rushing to start them in any league, any format, but there's plenty of formats and leagues where you need to start filling in with these guys at week 11 in the season. So that's where I put them, probably like wide receiver 4 category or worse. That's where I put them.
Yeah. You got to lower your expectations. You're not hoping for or you're not planning on a huge week from one of these guys, just bye week replacement level fill. And that being said, I'm going to start Matt Collins out of these 3 if I have to pick one. I do think he's got that highest boom chance. Like, he's the one that could. It's a tough matchup against the Broncos. But Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller on IR, not there. So I know he wasn't too involved last week, even though we expected him to be. But he's got that boom potential. He's the deep threat. He's the vertical receiver. He can get it done on just a couple targets. So I'm plugging him in and hoping for a big touchdown.
Yeah, and Big Trev had a follow-up here. So the only thing I'm concerned about is a snow game in Buffalo for DPJ, or if Juju plays, how much does it affect Tony? What would your choice be then? Simon, does that change your decision here going DPJ?
If it's heavy snow, like not just like sprinkling, if it's heavy snow, yeah, you can't start him, especially with a team that has Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, right? They're just going to run the ball. So I would switch to Tony in that case. And Juju playing or not, it affects Kadarius Toney, but not in a huge way. Like, Kadarius Toney's role already isn't huge in this offense. Adding Juju in, I don't think he's stealing Toney targets. I think Toney targets are Toney targets.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, I think they're planning the targets for Kadarius Toney, getting him involved in cool ways. Guys, coming up, we are going to answer some questions from Reddit. Reddit's got all these questions. We're going to answer them. We are going to do an NFL head coach draft, drafting our dream team of NFL coaches. We're going to revisit our NFL division predictions, and we're going to talk trade values and targets at the end of the show using our friend Alex Korff, a.k.a. the Trade Daddy's trade value charts. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Join Corey Nando and friends, presented by Mayo Media, weekdays at 3 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
Darren Ravel's here.
I love tickets, man. That is my bet. I have a very hard time selling many of them, even if I know I'm going to make a ton of money. I just love the idea of the stories that tickets tell.
You know, Darren, that's interesting because I got a ticket I was at Nats Park the night when Albert Pujols hit his 400th home run. And I remember saying to myself, I'm going to save the ticket. But I don't know where. I can't find it. And then when you mentioned
that's exactly the problem.
Yeah.
Not only do the people who say they're, because you didn't have a bulletin, like, it's unlike cards, right? There's no place to put it naturally. Is it in your wallet? Is it in your shoebox? Is it on a bulletin board? Like, that's been the problem. Like, I have tickets that I got that, like, you could literally tell. I have one right here, the Jimmy Connors Aaron Crickstein match, right? The 5-setter. And you can literally tell that this was put on a bulletin board. You know, that's how it was saved. There's dots in there. But even the kids outside the ballpark that had the great idea as entrepreneurs to say, I'm going to ask people for $5, will you sell me the ticket? Those guys couldn't even hold on long enough for this market to hit. Like, those guys had the foresight and it still didn't work. So that's part of the complexity of tickets, which are so cool.
Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
We are joined by a very special guest now. We've got sports radio legend. We have Scott Farrell with us.
You know, it's weird. I'm not a collector of, sports memorabilia.
Yeah.
The only things I've said on the air that I've ever kept in my life were, I have millions of jerseys and all that nonsense, but I have 50 years of Sports Illustrated magazines, and I had the Len Dawson autograph. I have Lemieux autograph pictures, because I'm good friends with Mario Lemieux. And I also have valuable pictures of Bill Mazeroski hitting the Game 7 1960 World Series 9th inning home run to beat the Yankees. So I'm a Pirate fan for life, but I love the Yankees too, because I've lived in New York for 25 years now. My favorite player my whole life, though, strangely enough, my entire life was George Brett of the Royals. I love George Brett from the day I saw him play. Back in the day when guys actually hit close to 400 every year, instead of these guys making 50 million hitting 210 with 5 home runs. all the wussies in Major League Baseball today. They're not like they used to play. Back in the day, guys like George Brett, Rod Carew, Pete Rose, those guys.
I don't know how many 98 mile an hour sliders those boys were seeing back then.
Listen, if you hit 300 every year of your career and you're in Cooperstown, I don't want to hear it.
Better Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. It's in the game.
It's in the game.
Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. JL, we got some questions from Reddit that we need to answer. Reddit's got the world's most important questions. We need to answer those. Before we get to those, though, I did see one more question in the chat that I wanted to hit on. Jeff said just traded Lazard and Foreman for Waddle. Is that a dub? Absolute dub, Jeff. Foreman and Lazard for Jalen Waddle. I love that move. Congratulations on Waddle. Go pour yourself a nice big cup of coffee or champagne or whatever you want this morning and celebrate. Read a book. Think about what you did in a positive way.
Sniff some stuff.
Sniff some stuff. Is that what you do to celebrate, JL?
Yeah, it is.
What do you sniff?
Stuff.
Doesn't matter what. Just I find stuff. Make a nice little
sniff it.
I make a pile of stuff. Do you sniff it one by one or do you sniff it like all at the same time?
All at the same time. I like the mix it makes.
It's a pile of stuff.
Soda, like suicide sodas. You remember those?
Yeah. A little bit of dog poop, some paprika, notebook paper. It's all good.
Exactly.
Dude, I had to make my dog is not allowed outside and use the restroom unsupervised anymore. And I'm doing full poop pickup duty today. Because I let him out there yesterday and watched him go straight to the turd that the other dog just laid, fresh, and just take a bite. No shame, no trying to hide it. He knew I was looking right at him, runs up and not like sniffing, like he knew what he was doing. He was going towards it for the purpose of taking a full bite, like just chomped a chunk out of it. It was so gross. I didn't let him lick my hand the rest of the day.
I wouldn't. That's
just disgusting, Sancho. Just you gross poop eating loser that I love so much.
Gross poop eating loser.
JL, you ready to answer some questions from Reddit?
I absolutely am, Simon.
Let's do it.
We got some questions here from Reddit. Reddit's most pressing questions that we are here to answer. We're here to answer. So, Simon, the first question Reddit has for us is, what is something that you do now that yourself as a child would think was very cool?
There's some things I do now that would horrify myself as a child as well. That's immediately where my mind went. Like, if you would have told me when I was a child, when I was in the 7th grade, JL, and I found out how babies were made, I told my mom, I am never having children. I will adopt. It freaked me out. And like I was not quite at that point yet, ready to do it. If little me knew that I like lived in the same house as a woman, he would freak out. He would have an anxiety attack. So that's the opposite answer to this question. Little me was a bit of a dork. Like was pretty dorky.
You don't say.
A cool dork, one might say, but still pretty dorky.
One might say.
Yes, my mother is the one who would say that. What do I do now? Do you have anything that comes to mind, JL, that you do now that young you would think was super cool?
I think streaming. I think young me would have thought streaming is very cool. I would never have guessed as an adult that I'd do this every day, but I think that is something me as a kid would very much enjoy.
Talking football every single day.
Playing games, talking football, yeah.
Yeah. I think the fact that I still play Pokemon am much better than I did whenever I was a kid. To bring it back to Pokemon, like young me would be like, hell yeah, I knew we'd still be playing Pokemon. I knew all those hours that I put into this would pay off for something. That would probably make my young self pretty happy.
Rosie is like, I have a bed set up on the other side of this desk for her, but for some reason she's just like hyper focused on laying on the blanket right underneath my desk right now. She just keeps messing everything up.
Yo, that's adorable. That's one. Having a dog. I never had a dog as a kid. I wasn't allowed to have a dog. My parents were not fans. That's okay. People are allowed to have their preferences, and it was their house. But I always wanted one. And now that I'm an adult and I have a dog, young me would be so hyped.
That's a good
so
one.
hyped that I have a dog.
That's a pretty good one. And we got Dustin in the chat. Said, good morning. What did I miss?
Nothing.
Honestly, absolutely nothing. I think we answered that one, Simon.
Yeah.
I think that one is pretty good. Pretty good.
Not your hardest question, Reddit.
Not your hardest question. Pretty easy to answer. All right, Simon, I got another one for you. This one comes from r/askreddit. If you woke up and realized that the past 10 years was all just a dream, what would you miss most about those years?
The past 10. So I'm
20.
God. This is just putting me back at the
your first
first day
adult-
of college.
Yeah,
Like-
first adult years. Let's say like 18 to 28. What would you miss most?
This has now put me back. So what this is saying is my first semester of college was real, but then I fell asleep. And
now you're in a coma.
Like I did almost like we're approaching finals week. I am almost done with my first semester of college.
Let's just say it starts at summertime.
Winter break. Like I like the idea that it's
Okay.
one, like we're right
Sure.
around there. You did one semester and now all of a sudden you're just going back. What would I miss the most? I don't know. I'd be pretty disappointed to wake up with my freshman year girlfriend instead of my current girlfriend. Know what I mean? Like I just,
What?
no shame to her, but I just spent like the last 5 years falling in love, and then I'm gonna wake up dating a different girl. Like that would suck. How do you reconcile that? Like, I'm sorry, babe, I fell in love with another woman in my dreams over the past 5 years.
And your mom with the correct answer, it's JL. That's what you would miss the most. Come on, Simon.
I did not meet you until the second semester.
I thought
freshman
that
year.
was
You're
more
right.
important than your high school year girlfriend.
JL, what would you miss the most?
I don't think we met until the second semester.
That's what
Simon,
I'm saying.
So, yeah, so our entire friendship would be a dream.
Sorry that I focused on the love of my life first before the other love.
That's
of
what you
my
get.
life.
Was it worth it?
Yeah, 100%.
Which one of us paid off more?
Technically
her, I guess. I've only lost you money.
Man, the other thing I would miss, you know what? There's some things that would be good. I'd be like, oh, good. I didn't fail all my classes for 2 years.
I'm not an idiot.
Let's wipe off a little bit of that debt. Like I can keep my scholarships. I can keep on.
I am leaving school immediately. I'm dropping out immediately.
Oh,
I'm
man.
not finishing all 3 years of college. Like I love college, but if I had to go back, I probably wouldn't go to college.
I think I'd switch my major to like packaging science and just call it a day.
Yeah,
Have fun for a
packaging
couple
science
years.
was a thing in Clemson. That was a big thing. A bunch of my friends and roommates were packaging science majors throughout my time there, and they loved to throw the 100% job placement stat in your face. They'd be like, "Yeah, 100% job placement."
You know why?
Science.
You know why I didn't go into packaging science? I was considering it, and then I told my grandfather, R.I.P. I told him that I was going to go.
Told him R.I.P. What a savage!
No,
what a savage! R.I.P. Grandpa.
No, but I told him. No, I told him I was going to be a packaging science major, and he said, "What the hell is that? A box engineer? You might as well make yourself a dunce cap while you're at it, idiot." And then,
is that Netherland charm?
No, he's from Cleveland.
That's not the Cleveland charm.
That's that Cleveland charm. That's that I've lived under clouds for 40 years, and this is the grump that's come along with it. But then I said, okay, I guess I'll be an engineer instead of a box engineer, like my grandfather called it.
Box engineer.
It's a very real major though, and they do get jobs, every single one of them. The other thing, Dale, you know what we would miss? The 2 Clemson national titles.
Yes. Yeah, 2 Clemson national titles. The significant others. Wouldn't have met Maria. You wouldn't have met Leanne.
Just be me and Tim.
Just be you and Tim.
Just be me and Tim against the world.
It's a pretty good person to have on your side.
You know what I would do? I would spend the rest of the time like looking for the pieces that I would immediately go hunting for like you and Leanne. I'd be like, where are they? Like where?
You'd find me down in the reflection pond.
Just sitting in the reflection pond with your hookah, because that's where everyone smokes hookah on Clemson's campus, is under the library bridge at the reflection pond. Like, there he is. Yep. Tim, you don't know it yet, but that kid with the long hair and the lip ring and the hookah is going to be our best friend.
I don't think I had one then.
In this dream, you do. Don't stop me, JL.
Okay, you're right. It's your dream. It's your fantasy. I should let you have it.
What would you miss the most? Man, that's a tough question. I feel like usually you think about like what would you change, not necessarily what would you miss the most. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's always like if you could go back in time, what would you do different? And then the answer is always like nothing, because it led me to where I am today. When in reality, it's like where I am today is like there's things I could change and still have the good things that I like about today. You know what I mean? Like I could be purposeful about making sure the things that I want to happen and still avoid some of the negatives. It's a cop-out answer. Cop-out time travel answer.
Total cop-out time travel answer. All right, let's move on to the next one, Simon, here. This one, what are your best fighting tips? What are your best fighting tips? This one comes from r/askreddit. It's a pretty good one. First one I'd say is if you're able to make it work, tie your opponent's shoelaces together. That is always a pro move. Not only does it have the physical downsides, but also it's humiliating when it happens to you.
When Dale, are you doing this mid-fight or are you like preparing ahead of time? Like you recognize something's escalating and then like you disengage. Either mid-fight. Yeah. What would your technique be mid-fight to tie their shoelaces together?
Misdirection. You got to go with the misdirect. You got to employ your magician skills if you can.
Or you go like, is that Mila Kunis? And then they turn around and then you tie their shoelaces together. And they turn around
looking for Mila Kunis and you're quick double knot.
Okay. It's got to be a double knot. It's got to be a double knot. Otherwise, they're just going to pull right out.
Yeah. You don't want them to pull right out.
What if they're wearing Velcro shoes?
It's going to be tough. It's going to be a lot tougher. But if you can, silently, and then go
you
like
said
that.
Silently and made the noise to describe what they're doing. Silently.
And then like that. Boom.
Velcro them together.
Mm-hmm.
My mom's got a fighting tip for us. She said,
go limp.
Just full limp. No one's going to beat up a limp guy. If you are just fully just disengaged. And
I mean, I saw a fight recently.
Did you?
Yeah, I think I sent you video of it. It was
in South Carolina, right?
Yeah, Maria and I were in Hilton Head looking at a wedding venue. And we turned the corner. We're just walking out to dinners. We had just done the JJ stream, so we just finished wrapping up our I don't remember what the stream was for. It was a mock draft stream over the summer. And we were walking to a restaurant and turned the corner and there's these old guys yelling at each other. And it just started to, I don't know what happened, what led to it. And then all of a sudden, one of them runs up and swings at this old man. And then the other ones just come in and start ganging up on him and punching and kicking the old man. So we start screaming and then eventually they stop and walk away and start talking their shit as they're walking away. But it was wild.
That is wild. It's always wild seeing a fight happen in real time.
It's
two of you guys. Well, and usually the best part is usually people don't know how to fight. So they're not going to do any,
no idea.
They're not going to do any real damage. So you can just kind of enjoy the spectacle of it because no one's really going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Like if there's two like 40-plus-year-old dudes out there throwing punches, most of the time they're just like punching with like their wrist or just trying to throw haymakers and they're never going to land anything.
Yeah. And there were people like ganging up on the one old guy. So at that point, like, that's why we were like yelling and stuff. But as soon as they started like trying to kick his head, it was like, okay, guys, come on. You had your fun.
Here's my fighting tip. Your number one goal is to disengage no matter what. Don't be afraid to take a cheap shot and disengage. Don't go too far. You don't know this person. You don't know who their friends are. You don't know if they have a gun or a knife. Like maybe you think you can beat this dude up. He's smaller than you, but it's not worth your time. It's not worth your effort. It's not worth the interaction with law enforcement. If you have to, one cheap shot to the nuts and book it. Get out of there. You know what I mean?
What if they don't have nuts?
Okay, throat chop. One throat chop out of there. Like you take your cheap shot, something that's gonna like make them like for a second just like fully
make your Chewbacca impersonation.
Do my Chewbacca impersonation, and then you're out. Scott Fish has an idea in here. He says, start a small fire near the dog or your kid, then go slightly unscrew the cap to the milk or something. They'll never know what you did until it's too late.
That's pretty good.
You're right, because they're going to run to the fire and avoid the kid. Tim also said you got mustard on your shirt. Nose boop. Tie shoes while discombobulated.
There, boom. Nailed it.
Done. Any other tips, JL?
That's all I got.
That's all you got? I got one more. Don't fight if you can avoid it. Most fights are avoidable. Like I know you're big and tough. I know you're
all your tips have been how do you de-escalate?
Yeah, because guys, I
Mine-
know
mine
you're
are making it
so strong, and you could definitely beat that guy up. Like, I know it. We're on the same page, you and me. I agree. You are way stronger than that guy and way better at fighting. You don't got to prove it to anyone. Just back off. Your whole night's going to be better. Your friends' nights are going to be better. Your significant other's night is going to be better because you didn't fight that person. Nobody's night is going to be better because you fought that guy. It's just not going to happen. It
Feels like
never
you're
happens.
speaking to one specific person. In
No,
the
I'm
audience.
just speaking specifically
I feel
to
like
all
most
the,
of our
like,
audience is not going out looking for the fight.
I'm just like, there's always the dudes that are out where, like, you bump into them, walk into the bathroom, they're like, watch it, bro. And they're like, we're in a crowded bar where lots of people bump into each other, bro.
Did you just
Don't
call
need
my
to-"
mother Presbyterian?
There was one time I was at a bar in Miami and I had no money. If you remember, we talked about this before. So I was trying to get a mom to buy me a beer. And while I'm up there, like, kind of flirting with this mom, trying to get her to buy me a beer, this guy walks up. He goes, "You flirting with my mom?" And I just looked at him and I was like, "Yes." And he goes, "Okay, cool. Just checking. You want a beer?" And he had a pitcher and just poured me a beer in front. And I was like, "Oh God, this is the time. I've never been in a fight in my life. And this guy's about to try to kick my ass for flirting with his mom." And then he just gave me a beer.
That's pretty funny.
Super nice of him. Guys,
Nice of him.
Guys, coming up, we've got our friend Joey joining the show, and we are going to do an NFL head coach draft. We're going to revisit our division predictions, make some predictions for the rest of the season, and play some Quotey McQuote Face a little bit later today as well. And if you've got trade questions, we're going to be going over trade values and targets using our friend Alex Korff, aka the Trade Daddy's trade value charts. Right now, you're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Live with Lisa Ann and Rick Kamla. Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific.
Obviously, you've got a couple identities here, right? And so, Lisa Ann's here. Let's talk sports. Let's talk fantasy. What about my team? What do you think about my team? Like, that's dope, man. Like that brand you have built here is huge. And over in Switzerland, you're a big deal in Switzerland. Of course you are.
In Europe, all over Europe. But when I was at the Jersey show like 2 or 3 weekends ago, my security was shocked because every other guy legit handed me his phone and said, "Yo, Lise, can you check my lineup? Can you look on the waiver wire? I got bye weeks coming up." You're right. It's really neat how my worlds have become just this synergy between, me being me and then me reaching out to all of these different people and having this common ground that now it's like we're kind of bros when we talk about sports, right? We're just friends. We're all sharing the same heartbreak or pain. Sports is the international language.
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray. Weekdays at noon Eastern, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
Probably every team knows that inking starting pitchers to big deals and big money agreements is bad business. But that's the business they're in. What else are they going to do? That's what it costs to play the game. And all these pitchers realize it. I'd like to sit here and say, well, you should develop your own pitching. You should never pay these guys $25 million a year. But Ray, I don't think teams can do that. It's like the pitchers have a lot of power despite their weaknesses and despite their fragility. They still have so much control over the purse strings of these teams and these GMs and these owners. They don't care, Ray. They're seeing the same numbers we are. They know Jake DeGrom, if they sign him, you pray for 130 innings. Every team knows that, Ray. They may say something different, but they know what's going on. And Ray, it won't stop them. I mean, what do you think DeGrom gets in free agency this year?
I think he'll get 4 or 5 years, and he'll get 35 a year each, right? Paying $20 million for Drew Smyly is stupid. Paying $200 million for DeGrom is idiotic, in my opinion. Jacob DeGrom has had 14 injuries the last 2 years. Like, every part of his body, it's just, and he's phenomenal. But you can't be locked in. If DeGrom makes 25 starts, 26 starts, if he throws 150 innings, you could win your division. You could win the World Series. I get it. But if he does the other thing, which is what he's done the last couple of years, your team is so hamstrung, unless you're one of like 2 or 3 teams, you can't spend your way out of that.
However you're invested in sports, from betting to fantasy, collectibles, and more, join our community on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Joining us now and for the remainder of the show, we've got the sexy man in the cream skull hat, Joey Wright. What's up, Joey?
Not much. Just here to hang out this morning. I'm excited. It's a little colder for some reason. I don't know why.
Maybe your face is you're missing something.
Yeah,
you're missing some of your coverage.
Yeah, I was waxing my chest yesterday and I just went a little too high. Just a little too high.
That happens.
So.
I absolutely hate when that happens.
Yeah,
Joey, have you ever really put wax on your face?
I can't answer that question. In what form or fashion are you talking about wax going on my face?
Candles dripping is what I was going. Just kidding. With waxing hair off. I just have to imagine.
Well, not waxing hair off, but the first thing you said, yes.
JL, you ever put wax on your face?
Nope.
No?
You haven't lived.
God, that would just hurt so bad. JL, how much money would I have to Venmo you right now to wax off an eyebrow?
I do it for $1,000.
$1,000, not $500. Like you're saying, if someone had $500 cash in a wax strip, you wouldn't do it.
So
no, I make too much money.
Here's the thing, Joe. You need to double down on it because you're not going to walk around with one eyebrow. You got to say, okay, I'll do both for like $2,500.
That's a good point, Joe. Yeah, I can't walk around with one eyebrow. I just gotta go full both.
Yeah.
What if that's part of the fun? Is you only have one eyebrow?
That is.
What if that's the reason I wanted you to wax one eyebrow?
In which case, $2,500 for one. It just went up.
1,000 for two, 2,500 for one.
When I was,
that's honestly how it should be. Actually,
when I was a small child and living in South Carolina, probably lived there for like 2 years. I had an Aunt Minnie, and she used to pluck her eyebrows, but she would draw them on, and I was terrified of her because I didn't like clowns, and I literally like she would like draw these like thick eyebrows on.
It's an art to be able to draw the eyebrows on and make them look.
But hers were like really high.
I'm not good at it.
Hers like really high, so she kind of always looks surprised.
Oh, hey Joey, great to see you.
That was her.
Hal in the chat saying, "I'll come on stream tomorrow for 500, one eyebrow." He'll no, you would have to wax it on stream as well. I would need to see it come off. And here's the other kicker. I don't have $500 to give you, Hal. I don't have $500 to give anyone.
Maybe Keith can give us $500 to pay you, because that would be worth it to watch if it's not my money.
I need $500.
Guys, we are going to get into an NFL head coach draft. How this is going to work is we're going to take turns drafting NFL head coaches to create a dream team for us. It is not necessarily just the best coaches that can take part in it. It can be guys that are your favorite, guys that you like, guys that you think bring something unique to your team. JL, you got anything to add to this? Any other stipulations that I'm missing?
That's it.
All head coaches are available. Once one's taken, you cannot take them as well.
I have a question.
Yes, Joseph.
Is it the coach in their present form now?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're drafting that coach.
Okay. So I'm not getting what they did.
No, you're just getting that coach.
Okay,
that coach is on your team.
That's clear.
100%.
That is clear.
Now you can brag like I drafted this coach who's won 6 Super Bowls and has so and so, right? Like you can have those accolades attached to them. I'm talking about Bill O'Brien,
Brandon Staley,
Bill O'Brien.
That's funny.
Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Dale, do you want to go first, second, or third? It's going to be a snake draft. We're going to do 5 rounds.
I will go second.
Dale taking that middle spot. Joey, do you want first or third?
I'm going to go first. Wait. I'm wondering if I could get my coach third. I'm going to go first because I think I can get the guy I want second and on the late. So, yeah, I'm going to go first.
Joey is taking the first overall pick, which means we'll have to snake back to him. And that means I get the third pick. So, Joey, you're up first. Who is going to be your first coach that you select in the NFL head coach draft?
Listen, I know they're having a rough season, but I have never been so impressed with the knowledge and like the acumen of a head coach as I am with Sean McVay. I don't know if you guys remember that I think it was on Hard Knocks where they were like listing a play from like 4 years ago. Like they were like, okay, it was 1st and 10 and it was this game. And he called the exact play that was run on the field. And they quizzed him like 5 times on it. And it could have been set up, but I don't believe it was. It's Sean McVay for me. And he's young. So I feel like I'll have him for a while. Like, I'm older than Sean McVay. That's crazy.
He is super young. I think that's a good pick, Joey. I wasn't sure. I feel like there were a couple directions you could have gone with the first overall pick, and Sean McVay was definitely one of the names that came up. Is this a football acumen pick? Like, this is you like him because of what he does for football?
Yeah, like I'm immaculately impressed with him every time he talks. So Sean McVay is my number one. And he was a former Bucs assistant coach. So, there's a little bit of family there for me.
So you got that connection as well.
Got that
JL,
connection.
You got the second pick.
I have the second pick. I am tilting already because I know Simon picks twice after me. And so I have to pick strategically here. I'm gonna go with Mike Tomlin.
No,
that's a good pick.
I'm almost certain that he won't make it back to me.
He would not have made it back to you.
I know there are a couple other guys who are not going to make it back to me now because of this, but I want Mike Tomlin. He's fantastic. He's one of the best head coaches in the league. He is, just from a personal perspective, a very respected man. As a Ravens fan, I'm not supposed to like anything about the Steelers, but I love Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin is great. He's a great coach. I wish that he was my coach at times, just in life, just in general. So I want Mike Tomlin here. Second pick overall draft here.
I just feel like if Mike Tomlin was my coach in life, like my shit would be tight. Like, know what I mean? Like, I would be living my best life, and it would be like with love and respect. Like that's the vibes I get from him. Like, he's serious. He means business. He's going to get your shit together. But like, it's not by being a bully. It's not by being aggressive. It's not by being mean. It's with nothing but love and respect towards all the players that he works with. I'm sad, JL. I wanted Mike Tomlin on my team, but that's okay. Great pick. It makes sense. It makes sense. I figured Mike Tomlin wasn't going to make it to me once I got the third spot here. But you know what? That's okay, because I think I'm going to have a pretty good turn here. I think it's going to be a pretty good turn. There's still a lot of coaches left that I like, but there's two that stand out to me. First, I'm going to start with first-year head coach of the Miami Dolphins, Mike McDaniel.
Asshole.
I would have taken him if Simon didn't. So get out of here, Joey.
That's who I thought I could get
on the way back.
I knew he wasn't going to make it back, but it was either him or Tomlin.
He is one, like,
I'm tilted.
Football-wise, he's been absolutely killing it with the Dolphins this year. It looks like Tua's having the best season of his career, clearly. And this Miami Dolphins team is a real playoff contender under Mike McDaniel. But what really does it is just the dude is so playful and goofy. Like he does not take himself too seriously at all. He makes funny jokes. He jabs with players on the sideline. Like, the dude brings like a level of humor and comedy and playfulness that I think the NFL was missing. And I would love to just like hang out with Mike McDaniel. I feel like he'd be the guy that like hides behind the door frame as you're walking into the bar and jumps out and goes like, ah! And then he's like, good to see you, man. Gives you the high five. That's who Mike McDaniel is.
That's who Mike McDaniel is. Keith is freaking out here in the chat saying, what? This is ridiculous. Second round pick at best. And I have no idea who he's talking about. Could be
Mike McDaniel. He's talking about Mike McDaniel.
Oh, I
Keith,
see.
It's not just
Tomlin.
Keith, get out of here.
Get out of here.
Get out of here.
After the show, we need you right now.
Freaking Jets
get
fan.
the hell out of here.
He said Mike McDaniel is a third.
Keith is like, Adam Gase deserves to be up there. I know he's not a head coach anymore, but Adam Gase
But
is
he
like
was the best damn thing that ever happened to this league.
Peyton Manning would have never been Peyton Manning without Adam Gase. That's a quote from Keith.
That's true.
Keith, the producer.
Tim in the chat said Mike McDaniel 101. And Dustin saying Jeff Saturday.
Jeff, stop reading my picks out loud.
I know.
I'm just going to give them away. Maybe that was a sleeper I was holding on to. We did have a question before I make my next pick. Wanted to answer this from DJ Duvernay. He said Foster Moreau, Juwan Johnson, or Trey McBride. So, Joey, which of those tight ends would you be plugging in this week? Foster Moreau, Juwan Johnson, or Trey McBride?
I'll probably go Juwan Johnson. I think there's a track record there with him. I've liked what I've seen from him. Excuse me, the past couple of weeks. So yeah, it's Juwan Johnson for me.
Yeah, it's going to be Juwan Johnson for me as well, but I'm tempted by Foster Moreau. What about you, JL?
I would go Foster Moreau here out of this group. Juwan Johnson. Yeah, Juwan Johnson is a tight end, 38.5 total set by Vegas, which is very low scoring. And the Rams aren't particularly that good of a matchup for tight ends. That Rams defense is decent against the tight end position. Foster Moreau has Denver. Denver's defense is very stout, but they're there's a weak spot on that team. It's deep. It's tight end coverage. So
Yep.
I'm fine going Foster Moreau here.
Foster Moreau says JL. Luca wanted to know, traded Chubb for Henry half PPR. What you think? Fine. Lateral move.
Yep.
Both are great. The other team got a great player, and you got a great player. So
Yeah,
we
didn't
looked
we
at it
have that
yesterday.
yeah,
We looked at it on stream yesterday.
James
and
just correct us.
They are literally like even. Like they in PPR, they are like 0.5 points apart. In half PPR, they are 2 points apart. Like it is it couldn't get more even between these two guys.
Right.
Rest of season. Big Trev wanted to know sit one, Christian McCaffrey, Ramondre Stevenson, Alvin Kamara, Devin Singletary. So one of those players has to be benched. Christian McCaffrey, Ramondre, Alvin Kamara, and Singletary, full PPR.
As a hot squad.
I think it's got to be Singletary out of that bunch. And I know, like, I'm excited for Singletary, but Singletary's got to be the one that hits the bench.
Nah, I don't like sitting Singletary, but I agree.
What about you, JL?
Yeah. Out of that group, Singletary is the odd man out.
All right. I'm going to get into my second pick here. I just selected Mike McDaniel, and my next pick is going to be another relatively new head coach in the NFL. One that was pretty heavily featured this offseason in a television show that we all like to watch. He's got the heart of a lion. Dan Campbell, welcome to my squad. I'm going just for like the People's Choice squad is what I'm going for. Know what I mean? Like once Tomlin was off the board, like it changed the vibe of my team. I'm like, we're just going for the dudes that everyone loves, that like I would want to just hang out with. Mike McDaniel, Dan Campbell, that is a solid start to this game.
That is a good pick. There are going to be lots of mans thrown around in your locker room. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Let's go, man. What are we doing, man?
Dan the Man Campbell. To add to Mike McDaniel and Dan Campbell, I got to rhyme the rest of the team now.
All right, I'm up next here. With my next pick, I am going with the GOAT. Keith already alluded to him. Andy Reid, head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. Truly, I think one of the best head coaches to ever grace this game.
Yeah, he's a really good head coach.
He's really freaking good. So let's go Andy Reid. Do you guys think if you had to choose best head coach of their careers, Bill Belichick or Andy Reid? How do you determine?
Bill Belichick.
Is it just championship?
Yeah, I mean,
it's not just championships, but 6 is a bit ridiculous, right? Like, know what I mean? Like if it was like 2-1, then we could talk about it. But like, there's a certain point when you collect a certain number of rings where it's just like, okay, like that just wins. That like, just does it.
They should never rename the Lombardi Trophy, but they should come up with a Bill Belichick Trophy because.
Is there a better head coach of all time over Bill Belichick, or is he the best?
I haven't been alive for all time, so I'm not really sure.
But you've heard of them.
Yeah, but it's not the same as like experiencing it. Know what I mean? Like I didn't experience Jordan, so who am I to say like LeBron versus Jordan? I can look at the stats all I want, but I didn't watch them.
I cannot believe I'm blanking on the name. Scott Fish is gonna like kill me. The head coach of the 49ers when they won like 4 Super Bowls.
I barely know hers. I think is what his name was.
That is a head coach that I've heard talked about in such high esteem.
Bill Walsh, is that
Bill Walsh? That's exactly what I'm talking about. He's talked like whenever Belichick's mentioned, Bill Walsh is mentioned by like the generation before me. So I wasn't there to hear it, but Bill Walsh is a name I hear a lot. But from what I've seen in my lifetime, it's Bill Belichick.
Yeah,
I don't like Bill Belichick, but
maybe it's a Bill thing.
It's just everyone, if you want your kids to be a successful coach,
name him Bill.
Name them Bill. Or they may be a serial killer can of beans in the trash can, peeling bananas and using their skin as suits.
Oh, wait.
Oh, God.
Wasn't that Buffalo Bill, the can of beans?
Tom Landry.
Maybe.
And Jay also saying Reed should have been 101. So Jay thinks you got to steal here at the beginning of the second round.
So I'm starting off Mike Tomlin and then Andy Reid. I'm pretty happy with this draft so far. Joey, you are up next.
Yeah, and I'm just going to hang out in the AFC East for a little while. This is funny. We're going to have 3 AFC East head coaches all drafted. It doesn't matter which one I take first and which I take second. So I'll put some respect on Bill Belichick's name and I'll take him first on my swing pick here. He's the best head coach I've ever seen in my lifetime. He's won, 6 Super Bowls? Putting him and Sean McVay in a room together, to see what they can come up with is exciting to me. So I'm taking Bill Belichick, and then Sean McDermott from Buffalo. A lot of success the last few years. Love what he's put together there. Sean McDermott.
I was going to go Sean McDermott with my next pick, but you took it from me.
Sneaky, Joey.
Sneaky, Joey.
Jay said, I'm changing Brooks' name to Bill. And then he said, never mind. Mid-coaching decision.
Marv Levi.
Marv Levy. Bill's coach.
Levy.
The founder of Levy Jeans.
Levy Jeans. Before we get on to the next pick here, Dustin said 31 inches of snow, there will be no passing, alluding to us all sitting Devin Singletary.
Yeah, but your other options are Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, and Ramondre Stevenson.
It's not about his matchup. It's about his talent. I think
there will be no passing, but they're also running through 31 inches of snow. You're just comparing them to top 12 options.
How much slower are you in 31 inches of snow?
I'm a little bit faster than I would be in 40 inches of snow, but I'm a little bit slower than I would be in, say, like 16 inches of snow.
Got you.
Somehow I'm faster in 31 inches of snow than I am without it. I don't know
Can't
why.
figure it out.
But
I don't know what 31 inches of snow really looks like.
Like that.
I remember when I was in Colorado in January out in the mountains, and they were like, yeah, it's a light snow here. We really only got like 3 or 4 feet out in the park. I was like, excuse me? 3 or 4 feet is light for snow? Like, what is like when I got half an inch growing up, it was like the whole world ended.
That's true.
Every time JL said 31 inches of snow, I kept thinking about the rapper Snow. Do you guys know about this? Am I too old? He sang a song called Informer. And I believe the album was called 7 Inches of Snow, which even as a 12-year-old, I understood the reference.
He lived in Ohio, probably.
Yeah, he's somewhere.
Lived
Alaska.
somewhere.
Michael Bernardo in here asking, start 3 non-PPR. T. Higgins, Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, Christian Watson, Kadarius Toney, or Michael Pittman.
Non-PPR. T. Higgins is a lock. You got to get T. Higgins in there. And, man, it gets a little bit tough after that. What do you think, Joey?
I'm not going to give up on Pittman. Now that Matt Ryan's the quarterback, I feel like he's got someone competent throwing him the ball, and we've seen the talent from him. So I'll go Michael Pittman. And now it gets a little crazy. I might go Kadarius Toney. I might get crazy. Alan Lazard. I'm not going to give up on Alan Lazard.
Yeah, I think Alan Lazard's the next guy up here. Going against Tennessee is a solid matchup for him. I'd lock in Lazard with you, Joey.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are really excited about Christian Watson, and they really just are like, okay, well, now it's him. And I'm like,
so who's our last one? Sure. Who's the last one we're locking in? Simon,
Michael Pittman. Yeah, I'm going Pittman. Like Joey said, lower your expectations. He's a wide receiver 3 with wide receiver 2 upside instead of a wide receiver 2 with wide receiver 1 upside, which is what I think Pittman was at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. He was close to wide receiver 1 for a lot of people.
I mean, I had him as my number 12 wide receiver. Yeah, I had him as number 12 in my preseason rankings, Michael Pittman. But that was kind of like right on that line is how we were viewing him. And now that line's down there around 24, 25 instead of 12, 13.
Right.
Okay, whose pick is it, JL?
It's my pick. It is now back to me in this NFL head coach draft. I am going to go with, let's see. So far, I have Mike Tomlin, Andy Reid. So I need some balance here. I don't know in what way, but I just feel like we're at the point in the draft where I need to bring up balance. And so I'm going to go ahead and take, this might be a controversial. I'm going to take Kyle Shanahan.
I had a feeling you would take Kyle Shanahan. I don't know why.
I want one of these younger, I should say. I don't know that he's part of that crew. Is Shanahan officially part of this, like McVay, Kingsbury, McDaniel, young head coach crew? Is he a little older? He kind of feels like the Gen X of.
He kind of feels like
coaches.
He kind of feels like me at FYF, like a little bit older,
slightly older, but still kind of fits.
Yeah,
but it still works.
Yeah. Talks about having sex with his wife a lot too. So
he does
a lot.
Just nonstop.
Is Kyle Shanahan married? I don't know.
An exceedingly an amount.
I know Sean McVay's married.
So JL adding Kyle Shanahan to his team. So JL, you've got Mike Tomlin, Andy Reid, and Kyle Shanahan on your team. Pretty good team so far.
Pretty solid.
Joey, you've got Sean McVay, Bill Belichick, and Sean McDermott. 2 Seans on your team.
All about the Sean's, baby.
Sean's in a bill. Walked
Sean's
into a
in a
bar.
bill.
So far, I have Mike McDaniel, Dan Campbell, and I'm back on the clock for 2 picks here.
Ooh.
And man, the world is my oyster with this one. Where do I want to go? You know, I'm just digging like the new head coaches that are doing stuff for these teams. Like head coaches
Saturday.
And I am going to take the guy who is only the second coach in the last 45 years to have a win in their debut as the Colts. I'm just kidding. I'm not going with Jeff Saturday.
I think I know where you're going.
We got another round.
I'm
going to go with New York Jets head coach Robert Saleh. I've been wildly impressed with what he's done with his Jets team so far, and he just seems like a cool guy. And he is some like I'm sensitive about my hairline. I'm growing my hair out one last time. I'm sensitive about my hairline. It's always really nice to see a powerful, strong, handsome, bald man on the TV. It helps me. You know what I mean? I look at it and I go, you know what? If he can rock it, one day I'm gonna rock it. Like I'm gonna shave it and we're gonna be okay. Me and Robert Saleh, we're gonna be on the same. We'll just be the bald guys. Me and Robert.
And I feel if there's a fight, Robert Saleh is the head coach you want. Maybe Dan Campbell now, but before Dan Campbell was the head coach. Yeah.
Wait,
Robert Saleh, like
Robert Saleh and Dan Campbell stepping up for the fight, and Mike McDaniel just running around like poking people, ripping their towels off, like smacking them on the back of the head, then running away.
Bradley Chubb.
He's walking up behind people and like pantsing people before Campbell comes in with like the haymaker to end it.
To the peach.
Haymaker to the peach from Dan Campbell.
This is fun.
Whenever you said he's gonna pants him, and then he's gonna come in and see it any other way.
Oh, I don't know what to do with this last pick. It's not my last pick. I still have one more pick after this. You know what? You guys joked. No, I can't do it. I can't do it. His post-game speech was so good because he's a TV personality. Like, I'm just thinking he does bring something unique to the table. Jeff Saturday does. He brings something unique to this team that nobody else brings.
Do it.
But I can't do it. I can't do it.
No. AFC East is gone, by the way.
Yeah, we drafted the entire AFC East. You know what? Let's stick with my theme. We're going to stick with the theme that I've started doing so far. These are new coaches that are maybe succeeding in situations that have been difficult. And I'm going to take Dable. I'm going to take Brian Dable of the New York Giants.
Good pick.
What he's doing with the Giants has been wildly impressive. That is a roster that I thought was going to finish with 3 wins this season. Like they overperformed through the first 4 weeks of the season. They overperformed already. I like Brian Dable. What he did with Josh Allen was wildly impressive. And he just looks like he gives great hugs. Don't you think? Like I'm getting a good hug from Dable.
I don't know. It feels like he doesn't know how to hug.
You think so?
Yeah. It's the vibe I get from him. All right. This is my second to last pick here. I'm in the 4th round. There's a couple choices here, and I'm kind of having a hard time picking. I'm gonna go with Nick Sirianni, head coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. Another coach I've been wildly impressed with his offseason moves. I don't know fully if this is Nick Sirianni or if he's just gotten lucky by the bad decisions of other franchises, but I really enjoyed what he's been doing on that offense. I like Jalen Hurts. I like that move to bring in A.J. Brown. They've just really elevated. I put him, I've been saying it all offseason, but the Eagles and the Jets were the top 2 teams in terms of offseason transactions. And so Robert Saleh and Nick Sirianni were at the top of my list here. I'm going to go Sirianni, though.
Sirianni. It's a good pick, JL. I like that pick. What about him as a person does he bring to your team?
I honestly don't really know that much about him as a person, so I can't really speak to that. But
if you had to make it up,
he is a silver fox, and he's got all of the. He just knows how to charm people.
And you know what? That's what your team needed.
Yeah, between Kyle Shanahan, Andy Reid, and Mike Tomlin, not the biggest charmers.
Kyle Shanahan, I bet, has a little bit of charm.
He's got a little charm.
He's got a little bit in him.
Andy Reid, no charm.
A negative charm for Andy Reid. Who's up next? I think Joey has the next 2 picks, right?
Yeah. I'm looking around, and I noticed my coaching staff. You know, it's not much. If they got in a fight, there'd be no one there to defend them, and I think that's important. So I'm gonna take my variable from Tennessee.
Like Vrabel.
Yeah. And listen, he's gone to the playoffs the last 3 years with the Titans. The AFC Championship in 2019, 47-27 record. You know, competent head coach. I'm happy to take him. My last pick, I knew I was going to take him last.
Please pick one of the two that I want, so that I don't have to.
Yeah, no, I'm probably not going to. I'm going to take Lovie Smith. I love Lovie Smith when he was the coach with the Bucs. I was sad to see him go.
I like Lovie Smith a lot.
Me too.
Yeah.
I was considering him for that last pick. I thought he was just going to make it back to me.
Yeah, for the personality wise, like Mike Tomlin, like I would have loved to have Mike Tomlin, but next in personality of somebody I would want in my my locker room, it's Lovie Smith.
Lovie Smith.
Yep.
Tim said steal Harbaugh from JL. Harbaugh was one of the two that I was alluding to, but I'm actually not going to go with John Harbaugh here. I'm going to go with Cliff Kingsbury. I think I was hoping that he would fall all the way to the 5th round to me, and I was correct. I think people are down on Cliff Kingsbury. I think he's a smart dude. I was watching Hard Knocks the other day, and it's kind of wild. He's got nothing in his life but football. That's all that guy thinks about. He doesn't have family. He's got a giant mansion and football. And so day in, day out, I think he's got a lot to learn. I think he can learn a ton from the rest of my coaches on my team, the Shanahans, the Reeds, the Tomlin, Nick Sirianni. And I think Cliff Kingsbury is the young talent that we need to really wrap this thread together, wrap this package together. So I'll take Cliff Kingsbury, head coach of the Arizona Cardinals.
He's my wife's favorite head coach because he looks like Ryan Gosling. So
he is
very
hot. That's a hot man.
I watched Cliff Kingsbury put up like 56 on Clemson Tigers in the Tangerine Bowl in 2002. It was rough. It was rough when he was at Texas Tech.
With my last pick, guys, he fell all the way to the bottom. No one gives a better speech. I'm cheering for him. I'm rooting for him. And you know what? We got the good coaches. We got the guys with experience on my team. Let's get a little Jim Irsay in here, and we're adding Jeff Saturday.
Jeff Saturday.
Wild card. Jeff Saturday, welcome to the team. He knows nothing, and that's the
interim
way
head
I want
coach.
it. That's the way I want it. I'm putting an interim head coach on my team to pair with Mike McDaniel, Dan Campbell, Robert Saleh, Brian Dable, and Jeff Saturday is my squad.
The NFC South was completely disrespected in this draft. Not one coach from the NFC South.
Is that the only division that was not at all? I didn't have a single coach selected.
Wow.
AFC West was close.
What have I got against Todd Bowles? I don't know.
Brandon Staley probably would have been picked soon. I would assume. I probably would have picked him soon if nothing else.
Yeah,
maybe.
Who would have gone
There's
last?
A lot of good head coaches.
Who would have gone last in this draft? Would have been Hackett.
Ron Rivera.
So unlikable. Josh McDaniels would have gone last in this draft, I think.
I would take McDaniels over Hackett.
Really?
Hackett's got to be one of the worst. Arthur Smith.
Arthur Smith, Hackett, and McDaniels, I think, are down there at the bottom. Those are probably your bottom three. I would have.
Todd Bowles isn't really coaching the Bucs.
He's just
whoops. What? So JL, you said that Ron Rivera you would take last?
No.
Okay. I was
just naming people who might be in the later half. I know Ron Rivera. A lot of people like Ron Rivera.
I like Ron Rivera.
He's fine.
Guys, coming up, we are going to go through our division predictions, play some Quotey McQuote face, and then we're going to use Alex's trade value charts, the trade daddy, Alex Korff, to go over and answer some of your trade questions. Right now, you're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Live with Rick Kamla at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific on Better Sports Network.
Andy Reid is the best current coach in the NFL. He's better than Belichick. Belichick has lost his way. He's better than Tomlin. He's better than Harbaugh. He's better than Shanahan. He's better than McCarthy down in Dallas. He's better than all of the gangster NFL coaches right now. Sean McDermott up in Buffalo. He's better than all these guys. Andy Reid is the greatest gangster that we have at head coach in the NFL right now. And I understand that you're saying, well, Belichick is the GOAT, Cam. How can that be true? Now you're bringing up old stuff. Bill Belichick can't draft anymore, okay? Talk to me. Nick Chubb, Sony Michel. Talk to me. DK Metcalf, Deebo Samuel versus N'Keal Harry. Okay, talk to me. This dude has lost his way. Remember the year when he should have bottomed out and just tanked, but he couldn't, and he went and got Cam Newton, and they were a mediocre team, right? He's lost his way. And not that he can't coach up a good defense and that kind of thing, but overall, he's lost his way. Andy Reid's an absolute badass. They draft great. He's a great coach, makes the right decisions, when to go for it, when to kick, when to punt. The guy's the man.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
I hate the stupid unsportsmanlike conduct. As long as you're not disrespectful to the opponent, you should be allowed to celebrate.
How I used to say it, and to bring up, because now basketball's starting, I'm going to bring up personal.
Oh, dude, it's even worse than basketball, isn't it?
So Dikembe Mutombo, who used to get teed up in the 2000s, in the 90s, they didn't give a crap. 2000s, though, when they tightened up the rules, they used to tee him up more when he did the Dikembe finger wag. But they wouldn't tee him up if he did it to the crowd instead of looking at like Eton Thomas, like one time I remember, and doing it right to him, or when his back was turned, doing it right to him. If he did it to the crowd, they would never call it. And so that makes me wonder if these players, while, yeah, they want to talk a little smack, maybe they should flex towards the crowd than at the player who they're standing over.
I guess.
I know
again,
it's soft, man.
It is soft.
Because you know what?
Like we're gonna give 15 yards for that,
bro. They think that, you want to know why they're paranoid? They think that's gonna turn into a fight.
See, I disagree with that. That's not going to start a fight.
I agree with you. They don't agree with us.
It's one thing, okay, if you spit in someone's face or say something derogatory, like about their family or something,
right,
yeah, that can incite it. But if you're just like, yeah, I made that play, what? You know what I mean? Like, again, they know the rules. You got to know you're going to get flagged. You have to have discipline. But, like, I don't know. I have no problem with celebration as long as it's not disrespectful.
What's disrespectful? You know,
it's interpretation, and that's my problem. Watch, it's going to cost someone in a big playoff game, and that's when people are going to go crazy. There'll be a third down play. Someone makes a pass breakup, and they're in someone's face. They're going to throw a flag. It'll extend the drive. That team scores, wins the playoff game because of it. You need something drastic for it to really leave an imprint, and I hope that doesn't happen to my team.
Better Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We're about to get into our division predictions. Joey, Jalen and I did this a couple weeks ago, but a lot has changed in the past couple weeks, and we wanted to get you back in on this, get your take on who's going to win each division. Before we get into our division predictions, though, we had a question come in here in the chat. JP said, I have quite the dilemma. I'm 6-4 and need to win my matchup this week. Brady on bye. However, I have Deshaun Watson on my bench. Don't want to let him go. We have a 2 QB limit. Should I just drop him? So has Tom Brady on bye and Deshaun Watson as his backup QB, has a 2 QB limit. What does he do?
You have to start a QB this week.
Yeah,
I would rather drop Watson than Brady.
Yeah.
Watson hasn't played a game yet this year, and
hasn't played a game in almost 2 years. Like,
honestly, I think I drop Brady
and just hold on to Deshaun. Like, you think Deshaun Watson rest of season is better than Brady rest of season?
Yeah, I do. A lot of that is rushing. Like, Deshaun Watson does rush a lot. Brady has just been fine. He's been QB 15. QB 13. And for fantasy purposes, which is just fine. In a 1 QB league, quarterbacks are pretty much replaceable. They're streamable unless you have one of those top guys, and Tom Brady is not one of those top guys right now. That's fine. And the fact that he doesn't rush makes it so that you really feel this. If he's not scoring touchdowns or throwing touchdowns, then he's not going to really get the point. So I'd drop Brady. I'd pick somebody else.
I'd like to make a bet with you on this, JL.
I don't know what bet you make. This is a strategy question, but
I know. But you're saying Watson's better rest of the season than Brady.
I think it's possible.
I think Brady is. That's what I'm saying. We make a bet of like once Deshaun Watson starts a game, rest of the season, who's better?
Week 13 on Brady versus Watson.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
We could do that. Fine with that.
Yeah, I'm with Joey though. I'm dropping Deshaun Watson. We haven't seen it yet. Brady's been fine, and also tell your league to get rid of positional limits. Tell them to stop managing your team for you. You're a grown-ass adult who can manage your own team and don't need them to tell you not to have more than 2 quarterbacks. Because sometimes strategy dictates that you should have more than 2. Get rid of those positional limits for next season.
I'm not necessarily fully against the constraints on the positions here, just because I think it just adds a different element to it. I don't necessarily know that it's managing your team, unless, I mean, I guess that the purpose of it is to keep it so you can have other players, but I think it just adds a different element of strategy.
Oh, when every position is limited, like the league that my girlfriend's in, 2 quarterbacks, 4 wide receivers, 4 running backs, 2 tight ends, 2 kickers, 2 defenses, like that's fully managing their team for them. She has no say over the roster construction of her team. Has to have that many of each player. Cannot draft another one. I didn't know that. So through 5 rounds, we drafted 4 wide receivers on our team. We weren't allowed to draft a wide receiver for the rest of the draft. Not a single one.
You don't have to have exactly that many, right? It's just a max.
You do. Nope. You have to have exactly that many.
That's a different rule entirely than I'm talking about then. I'm talking about the positional limits, which are just setting a max. So it lets you handle roster construction within different constraints.
Yeah, but I think like 2 for a quarterback is too low. You know what I mean? 4 for a wide receiver is too low. Like it should be.
I don't prefer to play that way.
Yeah,
I get you. I'm with you. I don't prefer playing that way. But I do see, a lot of people like to add that wrinkle in.
I hate it. Let people manage their own teams. If someone wants to hoard 10 QBs and make their team worse for it, let them hoard 10 QBs and make their team worse for it. Everyone else in the league will beat them. It's how I feel about it. Also, he said, thanks, guys. These league guys are whack. They veto trades because they didn't think to make them. Man,
yeah.
I'm going to grow up.
Veto the veto. Like, yeah, I used to be a big, like, the commissioner needs to commission before I knew what the hell I was talking about.
Is it illegal to send someone a picture of your butt?
Let's find out. I've got my phone right here.
Let's say you could just say, send your league mates a picture of your butt and say, veto this.
Yeah. It's definitely not illegal if you have pants on. Like, for sure. That's legal. You can send a
put
picture
on some
of
pants, maybe some flattering pants. Have someone that you know take a picture of your booty and send it to them and say, veto this.
Huh? And then put a raspberry emoji, like,
yeah.
If I see collusion,
send them a voice message with the raspberry sound. Sorry, Joe.
No, so if I see collusion or bad play in the league, I won't veto the trade they made. Even if it's lopsided, I will kick them out of the league. And I will let them know.
I'll just hold it against them.
No,
I'll just root about it.
If it's like obvious collusion, I'll kick both people out. And I've done
Makes
it.
sense.
Like it's
in housing, if you have a thong on, it's fine. So yeah, just put your thong on, JP, send a picture of your butt to your league mate and say, veto this.
Yeah,
and
veto it.
With a winky face.
Trade accepted. Here comes my butt.
Guys, we are going to do our division predictions here. Dale, we did some of these a couple weeks ago, but things have changed. The landscape has changed. So we're going to go down one by one, talk through each division, and then we're going to place the wild card teams as well that we think are going to make it out of each conference. Joey, I'm going to have you start first, and we're going to start with the NFC East.
Yes.
Currently in the NFC East, the Eagles are leading at 8-1. The Giants are right behind them at 7-2, with the Cowboys at 6-3, and the Commanders at 5-5. This is a competitive division right now. The Eagles getting their first loss, though. Whenever we look at the odds on the FanDuel Sportsbook, the Philadelphia Eagles are at -340 to win this division. Cowboys at +460, Giants at +900, and Commanders at +18,000. Who's winning this division in your mind, Joey?
I think the Eagles are still the best team in this division, if not the conference. So I'll take the Eagles to win the division pretty confidently.
Pretty confidently, even though they just lost to the +18,000 to win the division. Commanders.
So bad.
It's a division matchup. Philadelphia, Washington play each other tough. This happens. So if they would have lost to the Texans, I would have been like, oh, what's going on here? But
God, we were all like, sometimes I watch games. Like I was watching that Thursday night game when the Commanders got up. I was like, why didn't we see this coming? Like why didn't I say this out loud? Like, of course, this is a trap game. It's a division game on a Thursday night, undefeated Eagles. They've been talking about how they could have the perfect season. Like, of course they come out there and lose to the Commanders. Why? Like, we didn't even bring it up as a possibility. And it just makes so much sense to be a trap game in retrospect, doesn't it?
Our FYF teammate, J Wall, was getting a little cheeky in our YouTube comments and made a comment about one of our takes that said this won't hold up well. And I said, neither will the Philadelphia Eagles 8-0 record, jokingly, before the Washington game, and then they lost. And I texted,
Got
this is
him.
what you get, Jay Wall.
Suck it.
Joey takes the Eagles. JL,
Yeah.
who are you taking in this division? Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, or Commanders?
It's an easy Eagles for me as well.
Yeah, I do think the Giants are worthy of consideration here, but not worthy of selecting. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles as well in the NFC East. But that Cowboys team is looking pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a bad Cowboys team.
I can't wait till we talk about wildcard teams. I have a hot take.
We're going to get there. JL,
Yeah.
you're going to go first in this next matchup or the next division. The next thing I wanted to talk about was the NFC West. The NFC West, this one a little bit harder to predict. I think the Seahawks currently on top at 6-4, the 49ers at 5-4, the Cardinals at 4-6, and the Rams in last place at 3-6. When we look at the FanDuel Sportsbook, the 49ers are the favorite at -220, but the Seahawks not far behind at +200. Rams and Cardinals long shots to win this division at +4,000 each. Who are you going with here? The current leader, the Seahawks, the betting odds favorite, the 49ers, or one of these long shot teams?
I'm going to go with the 49ers. I think the 49ers have a outsized chance to win here. The moves they're making are positive. I think that they hold up against on all fronts, they hold up. Compared to the rest of these teams, Seahawks, which are the closest here, they're a good team, but they're missing pieces. You watch a game and you're like, wow, they're holding it together, but it's not quite as robust as you'd like. 49ers make that trade for Christian McCaffrey. They have a pretty decent defense. I'm going to go 49ers here.
49ers for JL. I'll go next on this one. And as much as I want to say the Seahawks here, I do think that the 49ers are the most complete team in this division. Their defense was already phenomenal. They added Christian McCaffrey, and Jimmy G is good enough and very handsome. So I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers as the winner of this division as well. Joey, are we going to have two full agreements in a row, or are you going with the Seahawks?
No, it's full agreement. I think if San Francisco was fully healthy, I honestly think they're the most complete team in the NFC right now over Philadelphia, but they're not out of healthy yet. But I do think, they'll get to the playoffs and win the division. And when they get there, it might be pretty interesting.
Okay. We have agreed wholeheartedly so far, but we might get some disagreement on this next division, the NFC South. The Buccaneers currently leading the division at 5-5, the Falcons at 4-6, and then the Panthers and Saints both at 3-7. This division is honestly probably anyone could win it still, right? I think there's a clear favorite. The Bucs, according to FanDuel, are at -420, the Falcons at +600, the Saints at +1100, and the Panthers at +3400. I'm not going to get too cute here. The Buccaneers have Tom Brady, and it looks like they're going to start figuring it out. I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They've got that game leading. The Falcons, terrible. The Panthers, terrible. And the Saints, pretty bad. I'm not going to put them on the same level as the Falcons and the Panthers yet.
So this is a change, Simon, because last week, week 9, this is week 11 that we're in. Week 9, you did mention Saints. You brought the Saints as your prediction to win. So what has shifted since week 9 for you?
Lose. Yeah, lose. When you lose to the Steelers and you lose your last couple games, it makes it harder to win your division.
Right.
So in week 9, they had just beaten the Raiders 24-0 the week before, and they lost to the Ravens 27-13. They lost to the Steelers 20-10, and they're a couple games behind in this division and looking at a quarterback change. So I think it's going to be the Bucs.
That's
changing
fair.
my mind.
That's totally fair. Joey, what do you think?
Yeah, this is the Bucs division. I've said it all year. And they're doing worse than I thought they were going to. But I think they won 2 in a row now. Are they starting to click? Maybe they come back with some magic from Germany and they make it 3-4 in a row.
That is Germany's number 1 export.
It's magic. Yeah. So it's the Bucs for me pretty easily to win this division. The other 3 teams are garbage. Although I'm surprised the Saints are as much garbage there. I thought their defense would be a lot better.
Yeah. Joe, what about you?
What about me?
What are you picking?
Tampa Bay. It's Tampa Bay for me as well, yeah.
What do you mean, what about me? What do you think
I'm
asking? Oh,
I thought I already answered Tampa Bay.
I didn't hear you answer. Tampa Bay. So it's a triple Tampa Bay. All agreement so far here. I'm sure we will find the area where we do not disagree.
I don't think it's going to be on the next one. I think we can all agree Minnesota's gonna win the NFC North, right? 8-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, the closest team is the Packers at 4-6. Yeah, we can go ahead and just roll Minnesota in there for all of us.
Not much talking needs to happen here.
Yeah, the 8-1 Vikings or the 4-6 Packers, the 3-6 Lions, or the 3-7 Bears.
It's gotta feel good to be a Vikings fan.
Yeah, until they're not feeling too confident. I feel like Vikings fans are still just sitting out there nervous. Know what I mean? They're like, "What's going to happen? We never quite pull it off."
I'm gonna look at something before I say it. I think every one of the 8 wins in a row has been a 1-score win.
That's what I'm. Yeah, they are nervous always. The Vikings, it's not even close in the odds. They're at minus 3,000 to win that division. The next closest is the Green Bay Packers at plus 2,000, Lions at plus 5,000, and Bears at plus 12,000. It's pretty bleak for those guys.
Pretty bleak.
What was the stat that Keith told us this morning? With a Bears loss and a Vikings win, the Bears are already eliminated from playoff contention. Isn't that what something along those lines?
Yeah, I think that is.
Gross. Before we get into the next division, we had a question come in here from DJ Duvernay. He gave us his team, wants to know, are you trying to package anyone for a tight end? Are you holding till playoffs and maybe just work off the waiver wire for tight end rest of season? Their team is Lamar Jackson, Saquon Barkley, David Montgomery, Diggs, and A.J. Brown, Foster Moreau at tight end, then DeAndre Hopkins in the flex. They've got Evan Ingram on the bench with ETN as well. I think you're good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Roll with this team. This is a wonderful team to be rolling into the playoffs with. And I don't know if you have the depth to try to make any of these trades. And Ingram plus Moreau is a great combo to have right now. You can play Moreau until Ingram's not injured anymore.
You can't be stacked everywhere. I mean, you are stacked at quarterback. You're stacked at running back. You're stacked at wide receiver. Stream at tight end. You'll be okay. You really will. Because I doubt any team is close to you unless it's like a 6-team league that's anyone close to you in the other 3 positions.
I'd be okay if you want to package one. Your bench players are pretty solid. So you have some decent depth. If you want to league mates trying to get an upgrade at tight end, I'd be okay with that. It's hard to answer though because we don't know what the like distribution of players across your league look like and what your league mates are going to be interested in. So I would be fine going and shopping that around. If there's a compatible trade partner and a player that you like, go for it.
Here we go. Guys, we have our 4 division winners from the NFC determined, but now we need to pick our wild card teams. Joey, you're up first. And if someone says one that you agree with, we can go ahead and populate it. Joey, who is the first wild card team that you're throwing in here?
Dallas Cowboys.
The Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I think they'll easily get a wild card. Now Dak's back. This offense is good.
I'm with you on that one, Joey.
I'm with you as well.
Yeah.
So all 3 of us locking in Dallas as a wild card NFC team.
Absolutely. JL, who you got next?
Oh boy, I didn't know you were going to ask me questions. Let's see. Who have we missed from NFC? I'm gonna go with the Packers. I think the Packers are able to get a wild card playoff spot. They are currently 4-6, but things are trending up for the Packers. It seems like Christian Watson is starting to click with Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers is the type of player that you can't really keep him down for too long. He's going to find a way to. He's kind of like one of those like little buoys in the water. He just kind of finds his way to float back up. No matter what you do to push him down, it's all that clay in his belly. Keeps him floating.
It's so porous.
So porous. So I'm gonna go Green Bay Packers as my second NFC wildcard team.
I wholeheartedly agree.
You locking them in as well?
Yep.
Count me out on this.
If you look at the remaining games, Philadelphia is the one that I'm like, okay, yeah, they're going to lose that, but the rest of them, I think they can compete or easily win.
Simon, you were out.
I think they're a temper tantrum away from this season just being totally derailed. Like I have zero trust that if they lose a close game or they lose a game to a team they shouldn't, that Aaron Rodgers isn't just going to flip out. And this team has not looked good. Like it has looked like a less than good team. There's other teams that I think are better in the NFC that I think will make it. And I'm going to say one that you guys probably don't agree with currently, but I think the New York Giants are still a playoff team. I think the New York Giants make the playoffs. They started the season strong because I think if you're putting the Packers in there, someone has to miss. And I'm assuming the Seahawks are probably in for you guys as well. And so that would mean that the Giants would probably be out for you if you do have the Seahawks in, because one of those two teams for you guys is going to not make it. And I'm imagining it's the Giants, not the Seahawks.
Well, you were imagining incorrectly, because I'm going to go Giants as my last NFC wildcard team.
When the Seahawks fall apart from the leading this division through 10 weeks to missing the playoffs.
Yep.
Damn. Hot take, JL.
Simon, you read me like a book.
I knew it.
Seattle is my other one.
Yeah, and we can go ahead and throw Seattle in for me as well. So we had 3 different wild card teams. Joey went with Dallas, Green Bay, and Seattle. JL went with Dallas, Green Bay, and the Giants, and I went with the Cowboys, the Giants, and the Seahawks.
We all agreed on Dallas.
We did all agree on Dallas. We just had a different mixture of the teams.
Yeah.
Like we all used the same combination.
Once we find out, I'm going to go through these, because we'll play this game again in a couple weeks, and I'll go through each of the weeks and see in greater accuracy. It'll be fun.
We'll see who's stubborn. Green Bay's been eliminated. I'm so like, Green Bay's going to do it.
What you're going to see is mine are going to be snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap. It's pure reactionary, and I'm not looking forward to being outed like that, Jay. Because I'm confident that's what's going to happen.
Can't wait. All right, so that's NFC.
AFC time, baby.
Jay said it's all the clay in his belly. Did he just copy what you said?
I think Jay always watches about 8 minutes behind on the show. His
but even so, delayed. You followed up with it's all the clay in his belly immediately after I said it. So there was no time in between.
That comment's been up there for a while.
So JL, here's what happened.
Well, I just said it, so it can't be that long.
He thought of it. Then I said it, but he had already decided he was going to send it and blocked out selective hearing. He was like, "No, my joke. I said that. That's what me said.
Me said."
Jay wrote clay and belly, not Simon.
I'm just curious.
Clay and belly. Man, you ever eaten clay? Just taking a nibble.
No.
I've never swallowed it, but like I'd be lying if I said in art class, like in like middle school, I didn't just like take a bite because it looked like a cool texture. You know what I mean? Like it's soft and squishy. Like I wanted to see what it felt like.
I bet you were a riot in elementary school, Simon.
Oh my God.
My teachers had a love-hate relationship with me. I brought joy to the classroom, and I also brought a lot of trouble to the classroom.
Did you have a reserved seat in the principal's office?
No, but in the 4th grade, my dad came in for a school field trip. And he walked up to me. He's like, "Why are you timeout?" And I was like, "No, this is just my desk." And I had a desk, a table. Everyone else were sitting at tables of 4 to 5 kids at one table. I had a table facing the wall in the back of the classroom. Like I wasn't even allowed to face forward. They tried every different combination, like at my own table, separated from the kids. It had to be fully separated, facing the wall in the back of the room. And that was my assigned seat in the 4th grade. It was beautiful. My dad goes, "Why are you in timeout?" I'm not, Dad. This is just where I sit. Guys, we're going to move on to the AFC now. We're going to start with the AFC East or West. We're going to start with the AFC West, actually. I lied to you. The Chiefs are currently in the lead in that division, 7-2. The Chargers at 5-4. Broncos at 3-6 after being unlocked by Hall of Fame quarterback Russell Wilson and head coach Nathaniel Hackett and the Josh McDaniels-led Raiders. Playoff team from last year with Devontae Adams added is sitting at 2-7 at the bottom of this division. Bale, who's coming out on top here? Is Josh McDaniels going to pull it together and have a miraculous comeback for the Raiders?
Absolutely not. This is a Kansas City Chiefs division. Lock it in.
The more I watch the Chiefs, the more I think we got a little too excited about the other teams in the NFL. Like this Kansas City team looks phenomenal. That offense looks so good. I'm getting excited watching them, and I'm excited for their playoff run this year. I think it's going to be a fun one. I think we're going to have a fun playoffs this year.
Yeah.
The Eagles, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Vikings, the 49ers. Like, we just have some really good teams. I'm going with the Chiefs as well, though, JL. I wish I could say the Chargers. Like this Chargers team, every year I think it's their year. Every year I look at that team on paper, and I'm like, oh, damn, this Chargers team is good. But just not putting it together and too injured.
Simon, I just realized that I guess we did switch. I switched on the last NFC wildcard one because we went Dallas, New York, Giants, Seattle in week 9.
Both of us did?
Both of us did, yeah. And I switched now. So I threw the Packers in and the Seahawks out.
And I stayed the same.
Yeah, but we both went Kansas City here last time. And it seems like we're both going Kansas City now.
Joey, are you going Kansas City, or are you taking Tommy's Raiders, or are you taking Russell Wilson's Broncos? I guess the Chargers are there too.
I'm looking at the Chargers, guys, because I'm going to try to be cute. But no, I'm not going to get cute yet. Kansas City.
But I just couldn't. I love the Chargers, but there's too many injuries. They're dealing with too much stuff right now.
I don't like Kansas City's schedule going towards the playoffs now that I'm looking at it, though. I mean,
what
they're
about
going
going away from the playoffs?
Yeah, no. Like they're heading into the playoffs. Just a couple of bumps on the way there.
The next division is the AFC East, and this one is a hot topic, I feel like. The Bills are still Super Bowl favorites on the FanDuel Sportsbook, and they are currently favorites in this division at -180, Dolphins at +240, Jets at +1100, Patriots at +1600. But they're currently in third after losing that game to the Minnesota Vikings. The Dolphins in first place in this division at 7-3. Jets and Bills both at 6-3. Jets have the tiebreaker, and Patriots down at 5-4. But it's neck and neck between all of these teams here. The last place team is only 2 games behind. Joey, who's winning this division? Bills, Dolphins, Patriots, Jets.
It's going to be the Bills. I really want to pick the Dolphins so that Tim will let me come to Thanksgiving dinner for the family. But yeah, I mean, Miami's schedule heading forth, it's really tough. And the Bills, I feel they'll have it figured out. That's Bills for me.
Bills. JL, what are you going with here?
I'm going with Miami. Let's go.
That was really good, JL.
Thanks. Might sounded like just like a normal guy doing a Dolphins.
Wait, there's a character in a cartoon that sounds like that. Like,
It does.
It's in SpongeBob. It's in SpongeBob.
Yeah, dude.
The surfer guy in SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Who does it?
I
It's
don't
a
know. I know
fish.
exactly what
You
you're
know who I'm
talking
talking about? Tim said, Joey, you're cut off. JL is invited.
Let's
Oh,
go.
Oh, there's so much pressure on what I say next, though. Oh, but Dustin said JL is dead to me.
Sorry, Dustin. I'm going with Miami. Listen, I want to throw in a little bit of chaos into this mix. And I think the Bills have shown that they're beatable, right? The Bills shown that they are not impervious to getting taken down. I want to ride with the Dolphins. We're swimming with the Dolphins. Let's go, boy.
Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. This is tough. The Bills are the most complete team in the NFL. They've now had some tough losses. They're not losing to the Jets again after that one. They're pissed. And after that loss to the Vikings, they're going to get this together. Josh Allen will get healthy. So I'm going to go with the Jet. I'm just kidding. It's the Bills. It's the Bills for me. Give me the Bills. But JL, I like that you threw some love on the Dolphins. And I think this Dolphins team, spoiler alert, still might put together a nice little playoff run. They might win a game or two in this playoffs. They are explosive.
I saw a guy put some love on the Dolphins yesterday, and he got kicked out of SeaWorld. So I don't know.
Disgusting.
It was very disgusting. There's a documentary coming out about that just thing, I believe. So
Really?
Yeah.
Gross. Last SeaWorld documentary I watched made me
yesterday.
cry for a long time.
Yeah. I still have not watched it, and I won't.
Yeah, don't watch Blackfish unless you want to just tear up. Just absolutely.
My wife
tear up.
watched it and said, filled me in on some of the cliff notes, and I said, nope, don't need to see that.
Oh yeah, that movie is alarming. You will
Craig
not
also
SeaWorld
said,
after.
yeah, but what if that stuff doesn't happen, Simon? Things don't always get better. My counterpoint, Craig, what if it does?
Oh, back and forth. You're not wrong, Simon.
What are you going to
You're
say
not
to
wrong.
that? I thought whenever my girlfriend tells me, like, maybe we do this, I say, maybe not. And she gets mad. And I'm like, I just said the same thing. Like, we both agree. We agreed there's two outcomes. You gave one, I gave the other. Maybe we do it, maybe we don't.
Yeah.
But she doesn't agree with me that that's the same thing. That saying maybe we don't do this is the same as maybe we do. Let's move on to our next division. We have determined the AFC East and the AFC West now. Up next is the AFC South. Currently leading the AFC South is the Titans at 6-3. The Colts are right behind them at 4-5. Jaguars at 3-7, and Texans at 1-7. Unless Jeff Saturday pulled some pure German magic out of his ass, like
some Jeff Friday.
Like Tom Brady imported some magic for him, and Jeff Saturday is just pulling it out all over the place.
Jeff Saturday wins the next two games. The Titans lose the next two games.
It's the Titans. Go ahead and put the Titans down for me. This one. I'm not putting my faith in Jeff Saturday. It would be fun. It would be cool. Yeah. And I will cheer for it if it happens. But I'm not going to be the one who calls it. Tennessee Titans through for me. What about you, Joey?
Yeah, it's Titans. I don't think the Colts will finish even in second place in this division, honestly.
JL, what are you going with here?
I'm going with Titans as well. Lock it in.
Triple Titans. AFC North is up next. Ravens currently leading that division at 6-3. Bengals 5-4. Browns at 3-6, and Steelers at 3-6 as well, down there at the bottom of the division. When looking at the FanDuel Sportsbook right now, the Ravens are the favorites at -490, Bengals at +490, Browns at +3,300, and the Steelers at +3,800. John Luke, who are you going with in this division?
This division, I am going with the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens, I think, are the most complete team in this division, and I think they're looking good. They're looking good.
God, I hate agreeing with you, but it's going to be the Ravens for me as well. I want some more disagreement. The Ravens just look better than every other team in this division. The Browns, if the Browns were 1 or 2 games behind them, with Deshaun Watson coming back, maybe you could have gone that way, but they're just too far behind, right? This team, they're sitting down there at 3-6, a full 3 games behind the Ravens, and the Ravens are getting better right now. Not getting worse. That defense is getting healthier, so I just have to go with the Ravens.
Joey?
Clean sweep.
Clean sweep.
Dustin said, suck it, Keith. No one picked the Jets. And then Keith coming in said, Dustin, I'm keeping receipts. Just coming over here. All the people who doubted the Jets, Keith's keeping receipts on them. Up next, we have got the AFC wild card spot. So all of us, Joe, you and I had full agreement. Kansas City, Buffalo, Tennessee, Baltimore as our division winners.
Yeah.
JL, you threw Miami in there, which I like. I like that Miami got some love. And I'm going to go ahead and add Miami as my first wild card team. Miami's going to be a wild card team.
It's a solid pick.
Yeah, they have to be a wild card team. Joey, are you having Miami as a wild card team for you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm trying to get back in for that Thanksgiving dinner.
Dale, I'm assuming that Buffalo is probably a wild card team for you then, if you don't have them winning the division.
Yes, absolutely. Buffalo is a wild card team.
So we've got the second place team from that division for each of us making there. I'm going to stay in that division, though, for my next wild card spot. And I'm going to go with the New York Jets. I do think the Jets make the playoffs. This team looks pretty good, and I think Zach Wilson can get them there and then not much further. They'll probably have an early exit in that wild card round, but I'm going to put the New York Jets in. I don't know if you guys agree.
I'm with you, Simon. I'll take the New York Jets as well.
I think that's a change for you from last time, right? I don't think you had the Jets in there last time we did it.
I did not. You're right. That is a change. I had Cincinnati, Miami, and the Chargers. Miami moving up, and I'm going to keep Cincinnati here. Chargers not making it to the playoffs.
So you're going with Buffalo, New York, and Cincinnati as your 3, JL?
Yep.
Joey, you've got Miami in there as one of yours. Are you putting the Jets in there?
Let me.
Or
I
no?
had it picked. No, I'm not putting the Jets in there. Yep. So you need to know one more team from me?
Yes.
I'm going to put Cincinnati in there.
Cincinnati. So Joey's got Miami, Cincinnati, and who was your third one, Joey?
The Chargers.
The Chargers.
Yeah.
So Miami, Cincinnati, and Chargers for Joey. And I'm going to go with this entire division is going to make the playoffs. Wow. I think we could see it happen. I'm going to put the New England Patriots as my last team down there. I just trust Bill Belichick and trust this offense to make it. They've got a good enough record to be on that bubble, right? Like they're not far out of the playoffs right now. And I think we could see the Patriots make a little late season run and get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think they currently actually have a wild card spot. If you look at the stand, like I think they are currently in.
That's exciting to see if that happens. I would feel bad for the Bengals and the Chargers if that does happen, though.
Yeah, I would rather the Bengals or the Chargers make it.
It'd be much more exciting for football.
Way more exciting.
Sorry, Jets and Patriots fans.
So who were your guys' 3 wild cards? I got some of them here. I got Simon, you got Jets, New England, and who was the third?
Dolphins, that whole division.
And then
Give me
Joey,
the whole AFC East.
You had Dolphins, you had
Dolphins, Chargers, Bengals.
Chargers, Bengals. Okay.
I saw Dustin said in the chat that the Bengals are going to be wearing the all-white uniforms coming up this week.
Oh, I love those. I love those.
They're so hot.
So it was the Bengals, and I think it was the Titans on Thursday Night Football. It was the first time I let my daughter sit and watch football with me. And I told her all day, we're going to watch the Bengals play. So the game comes on, and she sees all white uniforms. She goes, Daddy, those bagels have cream cheese on them. And I thought that was
Nailed
hilarious.
That's so cute.
She thought they were the bagels.
That's Maria calls them the bagels all the time. Cincinnati bagels.
Is Mia my daughter? Would that make you my son?
Yeah.
Son-in-law.
Well, we need to have some
Son-in-law,
talks,
Papa.
young man.
Yeah, we do.
Guys, on that note, we are wrapping up our division predictions here. We're going to keep doing these throughout the rest of the season, see how our opinions change, see how accurate we can be. Coming up, we've got Quotey Mick Quote Face.
Oh, boy.
And then after that, we are talking trade values and targets with our friend Alex Korff, a.k.a. Trade Daddy, a.k.a. Peaked in High School. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Yeah.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
The only person, I've said this to you before, who I believe back then, of all those power hitters who truly was clean, Ken Griffey Jr.
I mean, I think so when he got hurt.
Body didn't change.
We'll never know that for sure either.
Nah, dude.
We've seen guys who were not big take substances.
That's true.
To get busted. So it's not about that always.
I hear you. It's just, don't you think with the way his career kind of went, you would think that he didn't take anything?
I don't think that he did, but we'll never know 100%.
I'm going to keep telling myself that he didn't. The 1 year player, I mean, he's my favorite baseball player of all time. In the 1990s, Ron, as a kid, as a 5-year-old kid who plays video games and collected cards, there was no one cooler than Ken Griffey Jr. I still wear my hat backwards because Ken Griffey Jr. did it and he looked really cool doing that, wearing a backwards baseball cap. Like, he made everything the guy did looked cool. Even the home run in the movie Little Big League, it's acting, it's all, I guess, fake, but even he made that look cool. I mean, Ken Griffey Jr., you're a little bit older than me, but in the 90s, was there besides Michael Jordan, was there a more loved athlete than Ken Griffey Jr.?
Yeah, no, I love Griffey. He's one of my favorite players ever, from defensively to hitting his swing. And yeah, I would have loved to see what he could have done if he had stayed healthy, the final numbers he'd finish with. So no, I was a huge fan of Ken Griffey, and it's a shame though that all those injuries towards the end of his career just really limited the production he put up, but he still put up elite numbers. He was so fun. So I'm a huge Ken Griffey guy.
And here's the other thing too. So 1994, the season got shortened because of the strike.
Yeah, he finished with 40 homers in 111 games that year, man. And then he had 56 2 years in a row, 97 and 98, and then 48. He had a stretch 4 years in a row, 49, 56, 56, 48, 40. I mean, unbelievable. And then, yeah, once he hit like 31, he started to miss games, 111, 70, 53, 83. So think about that. All those years that he lost, and he still hit 630 home runs, man.
Yeah.
So if he was clean, he would have been the all-time home run champion. Again, we're all guessing here, but you would think, all right, well, once he got into age 31, 32, that's when the body started breaking out, which is typical, right, for someone who's not using anything, whereas we saw Barry Bonds just get better with age, and we did not see that with Griffey. So look at 2001, where he's 31, he played on, look at the home runs decline, 8, 13, 20, 35, 27, 30, 18, 15. To his age 38 season. Even age 39 in 170 games, he had 19 home runs. So he probably would have definitely been the all-time home run leader had he been able to stay healthy.
Better Sports Network. It's sports talk done better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. It's in the game.
Auto game.
Yes, indeed. Guys, we had some questions come in from the chat during that break that I wanted to make sure we hit. The first question that came in here, just lost it for a second. Trev wanted to know, do you guys like waiting and playing Kyler on Monday night, or should I just play it safe and play Danny Dimes? So Kyler Murray, we're wondering if he's going to come back from injury. Joey, would you wait for Kyler Murray or play it safe with Daniel Jones?
So we're going to have more information by Sunday. I'm waiting it out till Sunday. If it does, like if Kyler's practiced on, let's say, Thursday and Friday, I'm going to wait till Monday. This whole Daniel Jones, let's start Daniel Jones movement, I can't get behind it. I see what he's done in fantasy, but I just think it's about to break any second now.
If it does, it's not going to be this week against the Detroit Lions because the matchup is just too juicy. I would just go Danny Dimes here. I'll go Daniel Jones, New York Giants quarterback.
Yep, I'm going Daniel Jones as well. I think with that matchup, you can just plug him in. You can just plug him in and play him, and you're going to be pretty happy with it. And then hopefully you have Kyler back for the following week. And you can give it a little bit of breathing room with him coming back from an injury. B Kings wanted to know, would y'all trade Fournette and DK Metcalf for Kupp in half PPR? Have tons of depth, 7-3 in first. Gambling Kupp comes back for the playoffs. Joey, are you doing that move?
No, that's a gamble. I mean, you said you're gambling he comes back, but I don't see a reason they bring Cooper Kupp back this year. I really don't. And you're giving up DK Metcalf, who's going to be on the field every week. Fournette, we'll see what happens after the bye. Rachaad White may be taking over, but I still think Fournette's involved there. Yeah, I'm not making this trade. It's just too risky for me.
Yeah, B Kings, you're 7-3. I know you said you have hella depth, but this is how you stay 7-3. Don't go trading away tons of value for a question mark, right? DK for Kupp. I wouldn't trade a single one of these guys for Kupp right now. So trading both of them is a severe overpay.
I mean, I could throw $100 on the Texans to win the Super Bowl just in case. You know what I mean? At plus 100,000 odds, but I'm still just throwing away $100.
I have a question.
Because it's not going to happen.
I have a question for you guys. Would you make this Fournette and DK trade for Jamar Chase, knowing that he is going to be coming back?
No.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I'll do that move.
I split it.
I'll do that for Jamar Chase because we have more clarity there, right?
Yeah.
They said 5 to 6 weeks for Cooper Kupp. It is already week 11. We're looking at week 16, 17 for him to come back. And this Rams team is not a playoff team. Ideal case. Everything goes right. We're looking at week 16, 17. Season's only 18 weeks long. The Rams are already going to be out of playoff contention. I'm with you, Joey. I just don't see him coming back. We had another question from Strong Style Ninja in here.
Ooh.
John Luke, George Pickens or Kadarius Toney rest of season?
Pickens.
Pickens for you as well, Joey?
Yes.
It's Pickens for me too. Kadarius Toney's exciting, but he is not going to be as relevant, I think, as George Pickens is the rest of the year.
He's going to go off this week probably. But
Toney?
it doesn't confirm. Don't watch him go off this week and then say, yeah, and I should have had Toney instead of Pickens.
It's like all the people going like, see, I told you Jeff Saturday was the right choice.
Yeah, exactly. Just don't pull a Jim Irsay. This week, I'd probably go Toney over Pickens, but rest of the season, I'd rather have Pickens.
John Luke, it's time for us to play a game that we call Quotey McQuote Face. You want to get us rolling on some Quotey McQuote Face for us?
I will gladly get us rolling. Guys, we have played Quotey McQuote Face before. You know the rules, but if you don't, I have a bunch of quotes that I have sourced from around the world / NFL. I think they're all NFL today. But you guys have to tell me who said it in the context in which they said it. There are 2 points available for every quote. If you do not get it correct, either one, your opponent will have the opportunity to guess either the person who said it or the context and steal that point away from you. Okay?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
All right. Let's see. I just want to make sure I can keep score here. Simon, and we got Joey.
I'm Joey.
All right. Joey, you are going to be going first on this one.
Okay.
So you are going to be going first. Here is your quote. Yeah, I think if you watch his blocking, you don't see guys leading the league in receiving and blocking the way that he's blocking. The whole room, really.
Can you read it to me one more time?
Yeah, I think if you watch his blocking, you don't see guys leading the league in receiving and blocking the way that he's blocking. The whole room, really.
Oh, man. I feel like this is about George Kittle.
So there's the context.
Yeah. Was this Kyle Shanahan about George Kittle?
Final answer?
Yeah.
Bonk. Neither one of those is correct. Simon.
Oh, boy.
You want to steal?
I'll try. I'll give it a shot. This is quarterback. This is quarterback Geno Smith talking about Will Disley. I'm just guessing a random quarterback tight end combo.
That is bonk.
Yeah,
Incorrect. Double bonk. This was wide receiver coach Wes Welker talking about Tyreek Hill.
Interesting. Read the quote again one more time now that I have that.
Yeah, I think if you watch his blocking, you don't see guys leading the league in receiving and blocking the way that he's blocking. The whole room, really.
Leading
the
league
receiving is the clue.
Like I just skipped over that. I was trying to say, I thought he was saying this player's not leading the league in receiving because he's blocking so much. But now that you reread it, like after I know the context, it makes sense.
I had brain block by the word block. It just
brain block by block. Craig said Wes Welker is one of my all-time favorites.
We'll tell him. I'll give him a call after this and let him know.
And Hal said Hawkinson and Cousins. Talking about Hawkinson and Cousins. Good guess. Bonk. But bonk. That's kind of a tough one. It's kind of a tough one. I don't know that I would have ever guessed Wes Welker. That was a Keith quote. I'm just throwing him under the bus here. No points on that one. Simon, you are going to get to go first on this next one. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm so ready.
All right. No, honestly, I don't have a lot of confidence when it comes to the league making that decision without some sort of big vote and gripes from certain owners who don't want to spend money.
Read it one more time for me.
The quote is, no, honestly, I don't have a lot of confidence when it comes to the league making that decision without some sort of big vote and gripes from certain owners who don't want to spend the money.
I think this is about all of the fields having real grass instead of artificial turf and making that a requirement from the NFL. I think that's the context. I know George Kittle has been speaking out about this. I don't know if this is him though. I'm gonna go with George Kittle about the turf.
George Kittle talking about the turf.
Wanting it to be replaced with grass, yeah.
Wanting to replace with grass. Well, Simon, you are half correct. This was talking about the turf grass dilemma, but it wasn't Kittle. Joey, you have an opportunity to steal this. Simon is going to get the point for the context.
I believe it was Cooper Kupp, wasn't it?
Final answer?
Yeah, I'm going to get bonked.
Bonk. This was Aaron Rodgers talking about.
Oh, of course it was, because he wants to piss and moan about everything.
Issues.
I don't listen to him, so
yeah,
that's probably why.
That's tricky.
Very tricky. Hal guessed OBJ and then said ugh.
Does Simon get 1 point?
Yeah.
Simon does get 1 point for correctly.
Congratulations, Simon, for getting 1 point.
Thank you, Joey. Means a lot.
Simon, that puts you in the lead. Joey, this next quote is yours. You ready?
Yeah, I'm so ready for this next quote.
All right, here it is. He loves those opportunities. He loves the opportunity to take over a game and play as well as he did. He played very well today. Who said? He loves those opportunities. He loves the opportunity to take over a game and play as well as he did. He played very well today.
Mike McDaniel about Tua Tagovailoa doing
Final
so
answer?
well. Yeah.
Bonk. Neither one of those is correct. Simon, you have the opportunity to steal here.
Okay. I'm going to go with, this is Cliff Kingsbury talking about Colt McCoy coming in for the start.
Cliff Kingsbury talking about Colt McCoy coming in for the start, and that is...
Bonk.
That's bonk. Totally wrong.
Was it? I got one more guess. Can I throw it out there not for points?
Sure.
Was it Ron Rivera talking about Taylor Heineke pulling that W out for the Commanders?
It was bonk. No.
Justin
that was
Fields?
Daniel Jones talking about how eager Saquon Barkley was to keep getting the ball.
This game is hard.
It is pretty tough.
That's like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I was about to say, was that your Aaron Rodgers impersonation, Joey?
That's pretty
It's
good.
not fair. I keep losing. I eat all this clay and it doesn't do anything.
I just am constipated. All right. That one was Simon's?
That was Joey's.
That was Joey's. That's right. Simon tried to steal. Joey, we're moving on to your quote. You ready?
Oh, it was Joey's.
No, it was my quote. So it's Simon's
confusing.
turn.
Simon, we're moving on to your quote. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here it is. I think somebody sent me something that Zach Ertz said, and he said, I don't know. I didn't want my name to be up there, though. So I did everything I could not to have it up there. I remember Quentin Nelson said something similar to that. If we do that, we'll get this thing turned around. So that quote is, I think that somebody sent me something that Zach Ertz said. And he said, I don't know. I didn't want my name to be up there. So I did everything I could not to have it up there. I remember Quentin Nelson said something similar to that. If we do that, we'll get this thing turned around. Who said this? What are they talking about?
I have no freaking clue what they're talking. Zach sent me something Zach Ertz said, and then he said, well, if I say it, then Quentin Nelson said it, and we're going to do it. Yeah, and if we do it, then we got it. And then it's going to be Quentin Nelson and us against the world. I don't know. Jeff Saturday talking about turning the Colts around.
Jeff Saturday talk about turning the Colts around, and that is bonk. Incorrect. Joey, you have the opportunity to steal here.
Cliff Kingsbury talking about the Cardinals trying to make a playoff push. I don't know.
Bonk. That is incorrect. Incorrect. We had a guest here from House, Dalton Schultz talking about penalties. And that is incorrect. This was actually Eagles coach Nick Sirianni talking about putting players' names on the big screen when reviewing bad game day film.
Yeah. And they said they don't want the name up there?
No, they're saying they're putting the name up there for accountability. And Nick Sirianni heard somebody sent him something about Zach Ertz talking about that on a previous team where they put the name up there, and he'd do everything he could not to have his name up there because it was embarrassing.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
It's pretty confusing. Great quote again from Keith there.
Phrase that better, Sirianni.
Sirianni.
Practice that one a little bit before you say it next time.
All right, the score is still 1-0. Simon, you are leading.
Yeehaw.
You guys want to do our last round?
Let's do one more round.
One more round. That one was Joey's.
No, that one was
Simon's. So this one's
I've got
Joey's.
this one. I've got this one.
All right, here we go, Joey.
Yep.
We have the right people in this locker room. We've got the right people on this team and in this organization. The only way we could do it is if we got to stick together and understand what we have to do.
I want you to read it one more time because you read it. So I felt inspired when you read it. So go ahead.
We have the right people in this locker room. We've got the right people on this team and in this organization. The only way that we can do it is we got to stick together and understand what we have to do.
See, your reading of it makes me feel Dan Campbell. It really does, because you've got that that feel to it, and they just beat the Bears. So I'm gonna say I don't. Where did I just recently hear that word? Anyways, it's Dan Campbell talking about he was pumped after they beat the Bears. Let's go.
Dan Campbell talking about beating the Bears, and that is bonk. Simon, you have the opportunity to steal here. That is incorrect.
I'm between two. I'm between two quarterbacks. They're both in the same division. I'm between Derek Carr talking about the Raiders and Russell Wilson talking about the Broncos. I'm going to go with Derek Carr talking about the Raiders. He thinks he's got some of the right people there. They got to make it happen. Derek Carr talking about the Raiders. Final answer.
Derek Carr is
bonk.
Bonk. Incorrect. And that is actually, it's a good guess, Simon, because if you remember, we played this game a couple weeks ago, and there was a very similar quote from Derek Carr that was like this, but this was Andy Dalton, the Red Riffle, on the Saints' leadership in the locker room.
The Red Riffle. So by a blistering score of 1-0,
you are in the lead.
I'm in the lead, and we got one more, right?
We got one final one, and this one is Simon's.
And so, Joey, you could steal here and win this unless I get both parts.
I don't think I've gotten
get all the parts.
I just have to get one part to win
this game.
All right, Simon, here's the quote. The same as it was before when we didn't have them. Both of those guys are extremely dynamic, getting open, making plays with the ball in their hands, and we just got to continue to find ways to find easy completions to them so that they can make plays. The quote was, the same as it was before when we didn't have them. Both of those guys are extremely dynamic, getting open and making plays with the ball in their hands. We just got to continue to find ways to find easy completions to them so that they can make plays. Who said this? What are they talking about, Simon?
Man, this feels like another Dolphins quote with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, but would we really have two Dolphins quotes in here? Who else? Playmakers that we have to get open. I'm going to go with, that's what I'm going to stick with. I'm going to think it is a little bit of a trick. There's double Dolphins. Mike McDaniel talking about Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and they got to just get the ball in their hands because they make plays.
Bonk. No! Incorrect, Simon. Neither of those is correct. Joey,
Really?
you have the opportunity to win here.
I was thinking it was going to be the Dolphins. But it was going to be about the running backs, and it was going to be a trick question because they were doing well in the receiving game. So I'm gonna go with. Can you read the quote one more time for me? Sorry.
The same as it was before when we didn't have them. Both of those guys are extremely dynamic, getting open, making plays with the ball in their hands. We just got to continue to find ways to find easy completions to them so that they can make plays.
Okay. Andy Reid talking about Kadarius Toney and Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Final answer?
Yes.
Bonk. Incorrect. That is what a whiff of a game here, guys. Simon, you are going to win by one, and that last one is was Davis Mills on getting Brandon Cooks and Nico Collins back.
Yikes.
Davis Mills.
That makes sense. I like my
Big
answer
score.
better for the win.
Big
It would've been
score
so
of
much more
one.
dramatic. You could have
Yeah,
lied.
Simon, you won though.
No one fact checks us. That would have been fine.
Hal in the chat said Staley about Big Mike and Keenan Allen. That's a good guess.
That is a good guess. Guys, coming up, we've got our friend Alex Korff, aka Peaked in High School, joining the show to go through his trade value charts, the trade daddy himself. This is the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just banning the porn bots real quick.
Whenever the porn bots, I will say, dude, whenever the porn bots show up, it means we're doing something good. It means that we're showing up. So, you know, they wouldn't find us if we weren't, if the live stream wasn't good. So, you know what? We welcome you here. Tinder-hot-.xyz best adult dating site. One of our biggest fans.
I detach all of my self-worth to how many porn bots come into our show in the morning. If we don't get any porn bots, I go the rest of the day thinking like, what did I do wrong? Why didn't Tinder-xyz.com want to hang out with me this morning?
Yeah. People ask, how was the show? I'm like, not that good.
No porn
bot showed up.
Moose and Keith, weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern.
Because I never asked you this. When Noah was growing up, when did Noah first where you got a sense that this is what my son wanted to do?
I was really busy during his formative years. I didn't meet Noah till he was about 19.
Nice.
So,
your wife did a good job.
Yeah, you may want to talk to him. I would say about first vision, he started showing a legitimate interest. He started getting curious about how I prepared, what it required, and then I saw a little bit of a shift, 14, 15, where he was concentrating on the on-cameras, the interaction between play-by-play and analyst, and started probably taking mental notes at that point of the performance aspect of, okay, you do all this prep, and you got to go out and deliver it. So, yeah, probably that 14, 15 range, I thought to myself, this could be something he really wants to do.
Better Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Joining us right now on the show to help you guys with any trade questions you have and to talk some trade values, we've got our friend, the trade daddy himself, Alex Korff, aka Peaked in High School. You can find him on Twitter at PeakedInHS_FF, and you can find his work on his Twitter, on his page, and also over at The Athletic and 4for4. Alex, thanks so much for joining us today, my man. I've missed you.
Absolutely. I missed you guys too. I was very sick last week. I don't recommend it. Day 9 of the flu. It sucks. I tried to give it to. Oh yeah, it was the flu. Like I got home and went right to urgent care. And they're like, yeah, it's not COVID. And I'm like, yeah, I know it's not COVID. I'm like, well, it's the flu. I'm like, well, cool. Maybe it was worse than COVID.
I know it wasn't COVID. I felt it in my body.
No, I took a test every day. So I knew it wasn't COVID. Yeah.
The flu, people downplay how hard the flu can knock you out. Like, and it hits you.
You know who
fast.
doesn't downplay it is every pharmacy ever.
Yes.
No,
it's bad.
No.
I lost 9 pounds.
Want your flu shot?
I believe it. 9 pounds. Holy
9
cow.
pounds. Yeah. My abs are killing. Or they look so good with all the coffee. Like, I mean, if you want to drop a couple pounds, the flu. Recommend
it. New workout fad. Diet fad.
My girlfriend tricked me into getting a flu shot. I think I was texting JL or Jay about it the other day. She was like, oh, you want to go rock climbing? I was like, yeah, absolutely. She's like, oh, I just got to stop at Walgreens. Let's grab some Gatorades on the way there for afterwards. I was like, oh, yeah, for sure. Let's get some Gatorades. That sounds nice for after we rock climb. When we get in there, she had appointments set up for flu shots for both of us. And we walk into Walgreens, and I'm up there, and I'm like, I know this is responsible. I know I should get it. Like,
Thank
I just
God.
I
Shout
hate needles.
Out Leanne.
I hate needles so much.
I know you do. And shout out Leanne because I'm screwed every time you get sick. It just screws me over immediately. Yeah. And so, yeah, shout out Leanne. She's the real MVP.
I'm a big fan of flu shots, but I'm also a big fan of $10 gift cards from Publix. So I will not get my flu shot until they put that banner up. The moment they put that banner up at Publix for a free $10 gift card, I am there to get my flu
Speed
shot.
walking in there.
Joey's like, I'm getting a pub
Yes.
sub right after. Gets his flu shot, then uses that $10 gift card for a chicken tender sub immediately.
Chicken tender sub.
Oh, Simon knows what's up.
What the chicken tender sub is both the most obvious invention and also how did we not think of it earlier?
It messes my stomach up so bad, yet I keep going back to the well. Like, I will never stop eating that chicken tendy sub in Publix.
You got to get the Chipotle smoked Gouda cheese on there as well. It is just, I need to find a Publix. I live too far away from Publix at this point. Guys, we brought Alex here not just to talk about sandwiches and flu shots, but also to talk about trade values. Alex is the creator of the trade value charts, the ultimate trade value charts. Alex, for people that may be joining us for the first time, do you want to tell them how these trade charts work and how you use them?
Yeah, sure. So 2017, I started to look at existing trade value charts on the market and realized that there was just a couple of issues that I wanted to try and fix. So what I do is I aggregate expert consensus ranks, and then I built a model to flex those and generate different trade value charts. The way I do it is I use the running back position as the backbone of them, and then I determine wide receiver, tight end, and quarterback value based on that. Adjust for the format, super flex, 1 QB, and then from there, that's where the market trade value charts came out. And I kind of do it all over. You've likely seen one now, but that's really it. Different formats for PPR, standard, half PPR, because each format's a little bit different. You want to make sure you're using the right chart for your league type.
Right. Just looking at this, it's the trade value charts for this week. There are some every week we look at this. There's names that pop out there. Like, whoa, Cooper Kupp obviously getting injured, heading to IR, dropped 65 trade value points. Yeah. I'm surprised you could still trade. He's down here with Donovan Peoples-Jones, Drake London, Kadarius Toney, Damian Harris. I'm surprised people are even trading that much for Cooper Kupp at this point.
So in our league, I sent Jay Wall a trade, Julio Jones for Cooper Kupp. And then I retracted it because I'm like, actually, I'd rather have Julio Jones. Yeah. And he sent me back one for Tyreek Hill and something else. I'm just like, what are you doing? Are you high?
Get out of here.
No, he's just an idiot when he sends trade offers. I know I've got one sitting in my inbox from right now. It's been there for 2 days, and I don't even want to open it because, you know me and Jay Wall are getting along. I don't want to ruin it by opening his trade offer.
You got to teach him how to trade. That's not a good way to trade. It's a terrible way to trade.
Just sends awful trade offers over and over again.
Yeah, do you guys think he's done for the year? I don't.
Jay Wall, yeah, he's definitely done.
Jay Wall's
good
done
job,
for the
Jay.
year.
Damn it.
Got him.
How about Cooper Kupp though? Same.
Yes.
Yeah. Simon and I had talked about it a little earlier in the show. We talked about it a bunch throughout the show, and it's unlikely they're going to bring him back.
Why? Why would they? He's out 5 to 6 weeks. That's what they're saying. Let's put it at the 5-week mark. That's optimistic. He's back so he misses week 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, back for 16, 17, 18 on a team that's not competing. And that's best case scenario for when he comes back.
Yeah, and for fantasy, you're not even caring about all that. You're caring about 16, 17.
Yeah. 18 doesn't, if you're caring about 18, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
That's true. I don't mean to leave you all out.
But week 18 championships blow. They suck so bad.
They're very difficult to do.
Is there anyone else on the chart that you thought was really, really kind of funky?
DeAndre Swift dropping down 11.5 trade value points. That's pretty significant. Jamar Chase hopping up 10.5. We're seeing, these players every week we get closer back to them coming back, the more their value is going to pop up.
But he's still on crutches. I'm surprised that they say he spotted him on crutches yesterday or
Jamar
Monday.
Chase.
Yeah, Jamar Chase. So I'm surprised he kind of still had that bump. I figured he might stay down a little bit. But yeah.
Were they a fashion choice or were they for injury?
Scott Fish wears them for fashion.
Yeah, Scott Fish does wear them for fashion. The one name that jumped out to me was, and I know this has been a trend going up recently. I'm just still shocked by it. Like, it wasn't a big jump this week, but Travis Etienne getting the level of respect that he's getting in these trade value charts is borderline shocking to me. He's the number 5 running back in value wise, sitting at 61.5 points in the 1 PPR leagues. He is a top 5 running back on this chart, according to how people are valuing players. It's shocking me. I think it's right. That's where I think he should be valued based on what he's doing, how this offense is using him, and them trading away James Robinson. But man, I didn't think the public would adjust that quickly and make him a top 5 back whenever we've got names like Nick Chubb, Jonathan Taylor, Alvin Kamara, Josh Jacobs, hell, Kenneth Walker, who's been doing it a little bit longer for that Seahawks team. ETN just jumped all of them.
This is why I like the way I view success in drafting is twofold. One is just performance for your fantasy team, right? Are they performing higher than the players who were drafted ahead of them? The second part is their trade value. The fact that Travis Etienne's trade value is this high already means that he was a whopping success for whoever drafted him.
Yeah.
Even if his value falls off tomorrow, the fact that you saw this type of rise in value, huge advantage.
So I have a fun one, guys. I have a trade offer in my inbox. I just got 14 team. I send away Derrick Henry and Austin Eckler for Travis Etienne, Kenneth Walker, and Amari Cooper. So, I mean, all the players you just highlighted. 14 team, pretty deep.
Hit the
Would you
players
do it?
again.
So I have Derrick Henry and Austin Eckler. It was an auction league, and I was drunk at the start. And the end, I guess, technically.
At the start. What a funny distinction. I was drunk at the start.
I was drunk in the middle.
I was the whole time. Don't recommend it. My team is pretty much just Derrick Henry and Austin Eckler.
Is it dynasty?
Send those two
It got
away.
real wild after that.
Yeah, we started Alec Pierce last week, and someone else terrible. I don't remember.
Somehow I have 14 copies of Tyler Boyd on this team.
I did pick up Christian Watson and
took him in
Allen
rounds 4
Robinson
through 12.
last week. Yeah,
But Derrick Henry and Austin Eckler.
And then get Kenneth Walker, Travis Etienne, and Amari Cooper.
Travis Etienne, Kenneth Walker, and Amari Cooper.
And you started Alec Pierce last week, you said.
I did. It was a bye week.
Okay.
It was bad.
Yeah.
That seems solid, right?
Yeah, it's a good
because
trade.
14 teams. I would actually take this trade because 14 teams, man, it's getting thin there towards the end.
It sucks sending Austin Eckler away, but you're getting two potentially top 12 running backs. They're being valued as top 12 backs right now, and a top 12 wide receiver. Like, that's what Amari Cooper is this year. Like, he's a wide receiver 1. I would do it. God, that's a scary one to hit accept on, though, to send away Henry and Eckler.
I've been staring at it for 18 hours, and the guy's he's actually a Patreon guy. He's in a couple leagues with me. He's great, and he's a Michigan fan, so he loves Ken Walker. So I was surprised. But I've been staring at that one, just like, man, I should accept this trade, but I really don't want to,
Yeah.
So I figured
Also,
I'd pick some.
Scott Fish, and you're saying it was the opposite. Chase was spotted without crutches.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it's opposite story.
Maybe
Inverse
both.
story.
Maybe both. Maybe we saw both stories. We'll fact check that. But Chase, for everyone listening, Chase either was or wasn't spotted with or without crutches today. That is what we know. Actually, all we know is that he was. Oh, it could be one crutch. Maybe it was 3.
Or like a cool cane, like Hammond had in Jurassic Park with
or like Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
Or the one with the 4 tennis balls on the bottom.
I love those guys.
Those are my favorite ones.
I have an impulse just to grab those and throw them every time I see them.
Do you think
Ford they probably need those tennis balls. They probably put them there for a reason.
I too want to hurt the elderly, JL.
I didn't say hurt them. Just said throw their balls.
Throw their balls. I think we talked about it a little bit already. You guys brought it up, but
I don't know people's balls.
Do you see this? You see these massive snip snaps with players often because Jonathan Taylor sunk to the floor, and then one good game, and people were like, "Oh yeah, he's good." Was this just overreaction from people based on the injury? Like, do you see these kind of big jumps back and forth often, or is it usually like a big jump one way and then they have to work their way back up?
I would say this year is probably less steady than any other year. It seems like usually the expert rankers are pretty good at not overreacting. And then you have to dampen the average user's response, right? Like the Randy in your home league is going to be like, well, Jonathan Taylor's dead. Like he's done for. And you're like, well, no, actually he's still a pretty good running back. He maybe just has a high ankle sprain and he'll probably be fine in a couple weeks. But this year it seemed to bounce more where the perception, especially on Jonathan Taylor, was just negative, including me. Like I was down on him 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So him bouncing back up like that, it is a little unique. But I mean, he played 55 snaps,
tons of attempts, just tons of carries.
Yeah, and he had that one. I mean, he looked good. Like it's hard to say he didn't look good, and the coaching staff looked competent.
Yeah, it's hard not to look competent against the Raiders, but point taken
true.
for sure.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I think I was buying into the narrative that the Colts, why would they rush Jonathan Taylor out and give him 20 plus carries if they're tanking, right? And so that was proven wrong, at least in this game, right? Where they're totally confident. They're fine giving Jonathan Taylor a ton of work, and they don't seem concerned with that. And so that to me, at least, where I would be shifting on Jonathan Taylor, is just seeing that they're unafraid to use it.
And it doesn't seem, it's like everything went from, hey, this is probably negative, it's going negative, it seems likely that it's going to keep going negative, and it just kind of flipped, right?
We see a shift in the trend where it's like, oh, maybe those assumptions weren't right, and maybe we need to adjust. And I think that's proper. That's how you should adjust your beliefs.
But Kamara's been the same way this year, bouncing up and down. Mixon's been the same. Aaron Jones, kind of all of them. Those big guys, like, will have a good week. They'll jump 5-10 spots, and normally it's only like 3 to 5 spots. People will move 1 or 2, but it's been a little bit more bouncy than normal. I don't know what that means. I don't know what.
I take advantage of those situations.
I bet it's confirmation bias. Know what I mean? These are players that people already want to be in on. Know what I mean? Like Jonathan Taylor, people want to be in on, so they require much less evidence for that to be true. They're looking for any reason to bump Jonathan Taylor back up to superstar status. That's why the Travis Etienne one shocked me, that he's up that high already, because he didn't have that confirmation bias going in, that belief. Whereas like the opposite. There's these superstar players like Alvin Kamara. You don't need much from him. He puts in a 2-touchdown game. He's going to jump 10 spots because we're like, oh, Alvin Kamara's back. Oh, is Alvin Kamara for real?
I take advantage of those situations, those bouncy players. Like that's where, to me, that's where like the best use of these charts come into play for me, Alex, is being able to spot those trends, see, okay, which of these players are people down on, and where do I think that bias is playing in? Where are they going to bounce back? So with that being said, who's going to bounce back next week? Who are we going to be talking about as the bouncy? Like, where's the bounciness going to go to between now and next week?
That was what I was going to ask. Do you think
where
Swift?
can people take advantage of where people are viewing these values at now?
Do you think Swift is one of those players?
I think Swift could bounce back. Yeah. I think Swift could definitely be one. Zeke could be one.
Zeke all the way down below Deontay Foreman and Rashad White. Rashad White actually seems a little low, maybe.
Rashad White could bounce up, yeah.
He's one. What about Alan Lazard? That's one that he kind of bounced, not a ton, but like I think he's one that has the potential. Like Christian Watson just went off. Is he the dude now in Green Bay, or is Lazard still going to be solid?
I think Lazard will still be solid. He's at currently tier 7, 15.5 trade value points. Didn't really move from last week to this week, just down 0.5 point, which to me is just negligible.
The ones I'm looking at are Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Like they're both out injured right now. I think Williams one good game. Keenan Allen coming back. He has one good game. He's expected to practice like this week. Should be playing this weekend. If he has a touchdown and 90 yards, we'll see him shoot up quite a bit in this chart, I think.
It's interesting. Najee went down 2.5 spots, but he actually had a pretty decent game. So I don't necessarily disagree with that, but it would just be good, Alex.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying now they're saying knee swelling as well for him, or
really?
knee discomfort too. Yeah,
knee discomfort.
Yeah,
I got some discomfort in my knees. I was walking a lot yesterday.
Elijah Mitchell jumped up 13.5 points, fantasy points this week. He's one whose value might drop, that you might be able to take advantage of. Like now, if he comes out and has a bad game or CMC gets a majority of the usage, I can see his value dropping drastically.
He jumped 13.5 points up to 13. He was at negative value before this. So I don't know if there's much to this. Was just people saying from he's worthless to okay, he's something. Know what I mean?
You can get a Cortland Sutton for Elijah Mitchell. If Elijah Mitchell has a bad game this next week, or CMC has a really good game, Elijah Mitchell has a bad game, Simon, you think you'll be able to get that Elijah Mitchell for Cortland Sutton trade done?
I don't think you're getting it done now.
Maybe not now.
Yeah, I don't think you're getting it done.
According to the trade value charts, they're the same range about.
I bet you could say. I bet the Sutton manager's done with Sutton.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Sutton's been underperforming. I just think he'll get
or Mike Williams. Like, oh man, like Mike Williams currently tier 7 value, 12 trade value points compared to Elijah Mitchell's 13. That seems like an easy swap if we all agree that Mike Williams is a guy that might shoot up.
Man,
is he coming back though? When's he coming back? He had a high ankle, right? And that was 3 weeks ago.
He's practicing.
Yeah.
No, he's not practicing. He did pregame warm-ups. He was out there doing like exercises and stuff. And he says he feels like he's ahead of the recovery process, like he's doing well. Hal wants to know, would it be nuts to add Big Mike Williams if you roster Keenan Allen? No. They're both great wide receivers. Don't be scared off by the same team. You're just limiting yourself in a way that you don't need to be limited. Be Mr. Unlimited. Listen to Russell Wilson.
I'm seeing.
Scott said, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joey.
I'm seeing 3 receivers here that I would really like to go out and trade for, especially one in the middle. It's Donovan Peoples-Jones, Drake London, and Kadarius Toney. If Drake London can bounce back at all, just the level that he's at on this trade chart, like I want to get my hands on Drake London because we've seen the talent from him early in the season. Just hasn't been there the last few weeks. But
yeah, that was such a little mirage in the beginning of the season. We were all like, "Yeah, Drake London season."
But we've seen it, and I don't know. Like, if I could give up Jerick McKinnon and get Drake London, I'm doing that like 10 times out of 10.
I will say they did throw the ball a little bit more the past couple weeks. 30 attempts, 23 attempts, and 28 attempts, and that was after back-to-back weeks of 13 and 14 pass attempts for the Falcons. So at least there is the potential that maybe they're shifting this offense to be less run focused, and Drake London could get some of that work coming back in.
Yeah,
absolutely could be a bounce back for Drake London. I would love to see it. Whenever we're looking at the tight ends, though, on this chart, 2 big jumpers this week. Big boys. TJ Hawkinson with a 14-point jump, putting up there right at the top of tier 5. I imagine this is just he's on a new team and he showed up. Do you think if he does what he's doing now, not anything better, not anything worse, just comes in and keeps doing it, do we see him continue to rise closer to that top tier, like closer to a Mark Andrews, a Travis Kelce? Because he's already 3rd on the list.
He is 3rd on the list. We could see him climb. This seems pretty high for him, though, here at tier 5. I mean, you're talking about trading a TJ Hawkinson for a Jeff Wilson, a David Montgomery. David Montgomery, he might shoot up. Thinking about that now, just Khalil Herbert going to IR. But separate topic, JL. Don't get sidetracked. TJ Hawkinson against Tony Pollard, James Conner. I don't know that his value is going to keep going up. It seems close to its height. What do you think, Alex?
I think a lot of it's just due to attrition, right? We lost Ertz and Goddard in the same week. And I mean, maybe lost Higbee too, right? They lost 2 more linemen. How much is Higbee going to be blocking versus coming out? That's a Kupp question that we'll have to wait for him to answer. I think a lot of it is just who are you starting this week if you don't have someone? Like I literally am starting Hunter Henry, and I am sad.
Yeah,
I am sad.
Hawkinson makes you not sad, I guess. I don't know. I think that's part of it, right? Like I think he has the potential to maybe rise above, but I think he's probably fairly valued. I don't know if he can get into that tier 4 guys. I don't think he'll get to Andrews level for sure. I don't think he's just not the focal point of that offense like Kelce and Andrews are.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I could see Andrews rising up this once he's back. I mean, I guess we're getting close to the trade deadline, but
yeah. Scott in here saying, Simon, if he keeps doing what he's doing, and Scott, 19 targets and 16 catches in his 2 Viking games, I will take that volume. I'm with you, man. I was just saying, like, can we see him if he stays at this level? Will he be put into that upper echelon is what I'm asking. Like, will we view him in the same tier as Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce whenever we're going into drafts next season?
Yeah,
if he continues what he's doing, if he stays on this pace, because it's impressive, man. It's impressive.
I misunderstood your point, Simon. I thought you were talking about this season. When I'm thinking about going into next season, absolutely we could see him. I think he's been in there, right? He's been in that almost.
He's been below it. He's been in the middle.
He's been below it, but since he's been drafted in the NFL, like the hype has been there. People
wanted this to happen.
Yeah, they want him to be in those names.
He is just good too, right? Like
he's good. Yeah,
he is a above average athlete for his position, and he's just pretty good at what he's doing. I think the biggest downside is that he has Justin Jefferson on his team, and he'll just never be the focal point.
And old Greek yogurt throwing him the berries.
And Scott said, I think we got him because word around here is it was due to Thielen's decline, and he'll be our number 2, I think. Yeah. That makes sense. If they think Thielen is donezo, got to get another guy in there.
Yeah.
They'll have to draft someone next year for sure. They have to, right? Like they need more depth.
Wide receiver position?
Yeah. Or
they'll just roll with KJ Osborne, wide receiver 1, rest of the life. Trade away Justin Jefferson, just roll out KJ Osborne and TJ Hawkinson, and they're good to go. They're good to go. The other tight end that jumped, though, was Dalton Schultz. Was this just a matter of him coming back, getting back into the good week? Having a good week?
Dak's healthy. He's healthy. They're still connected. They're They're together. They're figuring it out. I mean, it looks like it's 2021 all over again. So he's kind of climbing back up to where he was. People were pretty down on it. He was banged up all season.
Yeah, the tight ends are always a difficult position to trade anyways. Like if you have TJ Hawkinson, I'm looking at this, it says you can get a Jeff Wilson Jr., a David Montgomery, around a James Conner, a Tony Pollard. I have a hard time believing just 1-for-1 in this running back economy that you're going to get that done. Like it's hard to trade for running back. But you take that into consideration in these trade charts, right? It's positional scarcity.
Yeah. I didn't see what's funny is like, if you go on the Reddit comments, they're arguing the other way, that there's no way that you would send a Jeff Wilson for a Hawkinson. Like no one would give up Hawkinson for that. That's what's really funny is the disconnect.
No one would give up Hawkinson for that.
Yes. No one would give up Hawkinson for that.
I'm thinking the other way.
Yeah. Exactly. That's the disconnect between the people that are, I mean, you guys eat, sleep, and breathe fantasy football all the time versus the person
Simon
who logs
poops
in.
it too.
Poops it, yeah. Continuously. He actually never stops.
No, it's just one long string.
Constant flow.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's the same with quarterbacks. It's so it's marrying those two. Like there's almost two markets within itself. There's the like Randy that's in your home leagues market understanding, and there's
I've never
JL,
joined a league with a guy named Randy, Alex.
Everyone has a Randy.
Joey's
in their
the
league.
closest thing, and I'm not. That's more than enough Randy for me.
Scott's agreeing with the Reddit people saying, in this tight end landscape, no way I give up Hawkinson for Wilson unless my running backs are complete dog crap.
Dog crap.
Well, Scott, welcome to the Randy Club. You're Mr. Randy in our league.
I just want to hear Scott Fish just be like, yeah, that guy's dog crap.
That guy's dog crap. And Scott Fish is now Scott Randy. That's
Scott
your
Randy.
name. The Randy Bowl.
Scott.
The Scott Randy Bowl. That has a ring to it.
Randy Scott, someone famous? That sounds famous.
Scott said we stan Randy. Oh, we
stan
stan
Randy.
Randy so hard.
Sandy.
Alex, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on with us today, my man. Your trade charts are the Bible
Legendary.
for getting trades done. And everybody watching this, if you have not done so already, make sure you go and follow our friend Alex on Twitter at PeakedInHS_FF and check out his Patreon. It's PeakedInHighSkool. That's school with a K. The link is also in his Twitter. Alex, any parting words from the trade daddy as we approach our trade deadlines?
Trade
You
Papa.
guys got 3 days. 3 days in Yahoo leagues. Make sure you know your deadline. Sleeper is a little different. ESPN is week 13. Make sure you know that deadline. Don't miss it.
Scott Fish in the chat endorsing Alex, saying follow Alex.
Absolutely.
All caps. Great
All
spot again,
caps.
Alex. Alex, enjoy the rest of your week, my man. Thanks so much for coming on.
You too, guys.
Peace, Alex.
Yeehaw!
Trade daddy.
Trade
Trade daddy is home.
Yum.
Allowance.
What's the allowance from Trade Daddy?
3 trade value points.
3 trade value points that you can add to any trade.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Incredible. Guys, everybody in here hanging out with us this morning on a beautiful Wednesday. The football hangover is done, and now we are just prepping for Thursday night football. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
There's a full day of awesome content right here on Better Sports Network. Right after this, Moose and Keith are coming up, followed by Lunch Money presented by Fantasy Guru. And then Corey Nando and friends will be there to answer all of your most difficult fantasy football questions. Jail, what can they expect from Nando today?
You can expect a lot of say, I'm Nando. New York, pizza time. Winnie the
Perfect.
Pooper.
Guys, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. We will be back tomorrow morning from 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern time for some more Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. Joey's going to join us again as well. Until then, though, we're out of here. Adios, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.